Hello everybody, this is JP3 here, and on Wednesday, October 24th of 2018, I was able to complete the Halo Reach campaign on Legendary difficulty in one sitting, and did so deathlessly. Now, in the live stream of that recording, I was, at times a little excitable. Just die! A little salty. Hit the fucking box, trash. And, you know, it being a stream recording, I decided to go ahead and maybe put together from theater clips that run and then provide commentary while watching it that was maybe a better fit with who I am and who I actually want to be. I've since privated that live stream. And so if there was anyone important enough that I thought deserved to look at it, if they really needed verification, although I think I have a pretty decent way of verifying it that we'll get to in a little bit, but then I might be willing to unlist it and show it to some people. But I did have some people that were in chat that were able to see it and verify that it was definitely the real thing. So before I get, I guess, started with the run, I did want to come out and kind of show what my, I guess, experience is in playing this game. My first completion was 10 days after the game was released on September 24th of 2010. And I've played for 27 days, 6 hours, and 3 minutes up to that point. That equates to 654 hours, I believe. As you can see, missions completed across the campaigns, but on Legendary, you'll see that I've completed 350 missions, and without dying or restarting, I've completed 218 of those. So I'm not some Johnny-come-lately. My name is John, but it's not Johnny or Johnny-come-lately. I've been playing this game for quite some time, and over the course of roughly 8 years, I've played it quite a bit. Now, I will be pulling these files from the temporary history. That's important because with the temporary history, you cannot alter these files. You cannot alter the information in them. You have to save them in order to alter them. So as you can see there on October 24th, that was this past Wednesday, at 9:32 a.m., I started this run at Winter Contingency. And as you can see with only sword base, just a few minutes, just 10 or so, 15, 20, 13, 12 minutes later, I guess it was, started up Oni. And then whatever minutes later, starting up Nightfall. And I'll go ahead and move through all of these somewhat slowly so you can take a look and see the created on and notice that there is no modified on date or time that's different because, again, these are not modified. They're from the temporary files. And that hopefully helps to verify it. But again, if you really think that I didn't do this, you think this is some sort of hoax, then I will possibly release to an individual the live streamed version of this. And I live streamed it to YouTube. So like I say, it is there and privated. New Alexandria. As you can see, just if you look at those times and the date, notice that they all link up, because this indeed did happen. And finally, we'll get to POA in just a second. And there we go. The finale starting at 12:45 p.m. and ending roughly around 1:17, it looks like, p.m. All 9 levels, sans Noble Actual, because there's actually no fighting in it, so no possibility of dying. And Lone Wolf, because you will die in Lone Wolf, regardless of anything. In order to complete it, you must die. So I'll take from speedrunners and not include it. So let's boot up Winter Contingency now. I will say right off the bat, needs to be made very clear, I am not an experienced or even amateur speedrunner. So you won't see a lot of me running great lines or executing newest or even old tricks very well. I am a proficient casual player.
Shoot down attempts are likely, so keep your distance.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay focused. Watch your sectors.
So anyway, let me get rid of some reverb here. And let me put on headphones so I can hear what's going on. I was not adequately prepared for this. I don't usually do my video recordings in the same way that I'm going to be doing this.
Put us down on the bluff. June, I want your eyes on the sky. Sir. Let's go, 6.
So let's get started with me running a very crusty line here towards the exit to the stage. After watching these while recording them from the temporary files, I will say something that I'll say two things. First thing I'll say is that, you know, I definitely see room for improvement. My furthest point reach prior to this run was Exodus, and it became really my kryptonite, my troll level. Probably the most common level to die on was Long Night of Solace, but Exodus just kept finding ways to troll me in just things I'd never seen before, or only seen very rarely. And so, you know, the Sunday prior, so I guess a week prior to now when I'm actually recording this, I had sworn that I was just done with this. I wasn't going to try anymore. I'd been going at it for 3.5 weeks. The best I was able to put together was I put together 2 3-death runs and 1 2-death run. That 2-death run was probably a better overall performance than this one, except for that I died in Exodus and New Alexandria in somewhat of a tilty fashion. That was not generally the most difficult level for me. But anyway, so I had pretty much sworn off doing this for several reasons, including just the general toll it was taking on my sanity. But I just had this itch that had to be scratched once I had started playing. And once I started playing for this challenge. And I've been playing, I picked Reach back up about 2 months ago. Just here and there playing it, and then started playing it seriously for this run about, well, it's been about 4 weeks now, but about 3.5 weeks before this run was put together. And it just really was taking its toll. Reach has a special way of trolling you in several different sections. I guess every campaign has that to some degree, but Reach is, I'd say my biggest problems with Reach, I have several problems with the way this plays out, and they mainly bear their teeth on Legendary difficulty. I wouldn't say that you notice it terribly much. I fell in love with this game not because of playing it on Legendary, that's for sure. But yeah, I think they really did a terrible, terrible job with some of the combat systems, I think, that made Halo great. Really, truly weakening grenades, and then really making a statement by only letting you have 4 of them total. Getting rid of dual wielding for reasons unknown, although I don't know if I would have used that much in the campaign, in this type of run, rather, I should say, but that's not really my biggest gripe. I think weakening melee, and really, giving the grunts the ability to overcharge you, putting them much more in the line with jackals than being more individualized. I think that was really a bad decision. I think the concussion rifle is an abomination. I think fuel rod turrets are abominations. There's just several other things. Weakening the rocket launcher down to a shell of its former self. Making sniper rifles much more weak against elites than they ever have been before, or the leader class enemy if you count the brutes in Halo 3 or in ODST. Just really, burning a lot of those weapons to the ground. Even their own weapon, the DMR with its reticle bloom, which oftentimes just makes it feel random as to whether or not the bullet's actually going to strike its target. The shotgun being absolutely useless for the most part on Legendary difficulty, except for maybe in very highly specialized situations, or if it's the only weapon available to you at that time. Certainly cannot be a primary weapon, or even a decent secondary. Much easier to get whatever kill you're probably going to try to get with it with a plasma pistol or a DMR or some other headshot weapon. or even the Needler. I could go on and on. Even their own weapon, their grenade launcher weapon, is the epitome of what a lot of the power weapons are, which is high skill, low reward, and that's just, you know, so much more relevant on Legendary than any other of the difficulties. And I think I mentioned that, you know, some people might say, well, no duh, and I'm like, why is that no duh? I mean, if you didn't learn how to use the shotgun or the sniper rifle on Legendary difficulty in Halo Combat Evolved, then you were dead. Like, you didn't have a chance. You had to learn how to use those power weapons, and they were powerful. Not using the rocket launcher and 2 betrayals? Good luck. Good luck with that. So I miss, I guess, a Halo wherein it is to your, I guess, is to your advantage to use grenades, to use the power weapons. That's you have to do that on Legendary difficulty. You have to learn how to use those different weapons. Instead, what we have here is a game that essentially, the easiest thing to do, point and shoot, is the most rewarding thing to do, at least in terms of getting kills. And so, you know, that I really, again, you know, can't stress enough how much, I guess, doing a challenge like this and playing the game on Legendary difficulty, maybe in general, really exposes the cracks, the seams in the gameplay. And then, you know, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more as we go through the game, where there's just times where the enemy seems to have is scripted to have a very general awareness of where you're at all times, even if you're even if you're cloaked, even if you're in stealth, making some of the speedrunning tactics for something like this much more difficult to use. And I really can't stand the fact that when you sprint or boost in something, that there seems to be very little, if any, accuracy penalty that the enemies suffer when shooting at you. And it really is disgusting. And I can understand if speedrunners playing this game, I can understand when or if they ever get truly frustrated with it. So, you know, I have plenty of other gripes that I could make, and I still watch these videos and see a performance that is generally very lacking. It's something, as far as I know, only me and someone else has ever done. Certainly have ever done to the point of being able to prove it. No deaths, no reverts, no restarts, and that's RC Master back in 2011. And admittedly, he put together a masterful performance, and it's not one that is easily forgotten if you watch it. If you care about going deathless, if you care about Legendary, if you're not huge on speedrunning. Now, that was RC Master at the height of his powers as a speedrunner and Reach player, so it's no surprise at all that he would be a guy that would do that and do it as well as he did. But yeah, so, you know, considering that performance, considering even considering my lack of experience or concern at all with learning to speedrun in some world-class fashion, you know, I still think that there were areas, there's levels that I could have done a better job on. I could have done a better job, I guess, of creating a path that was both fast and safe. And I'll tell you about that when I do get to it. And then there's other parts of this run that I just flat out straight up mess up. And my mistakes, you know, in a run like this are going to be when I play casual, when I should be following a route that I developed for safety and speed. Synchronized bullshit is what that is. Because they all saw it at the exact same time, and it dodged at the exact same time as a result. That's scripted. That is scripted for them to do that. And these skirmisher shitbirds, I could care less for them. You know, if you're going to build an enemy like that, I think you need to go the route that Halo 3 did with its buggers, which is that, you know, you make them very weak, very nimble. But, you know, again, it's like everything's the same in this game. Skirmishers are relative bullet sponges. You know, go ahead and try to shoot one down without a headshotting it. And then you have these big, giant, powerful enemies, the elites, who are even more nimble than the skirmishers, I swear. You know, there's not a lot of distinction between handfuls of enemy classes or types. Very fast, very nimble, very bullet spongy. Good luck using a power weapon or a grenade. High skill, low reward. But I think at some point along the way here, I'm going to stop griping. I think watching this in the videos and watching the commentary of it, the original commentary of it, have just, you know, really kind of put me in a bad mood about this game. I want to be able to do it better, but at the same time, the odds are just stacked against that unless you spend a lot of time waiting for the RNG to line up in various parts in each and every level. Now, one thing I've learned about this part that I had forgotten because I'd never had what's about to happen before is that, you know, if you go and shoot those tanks and then just stand here, like 50% of the time, these cowards will not start coming out. So it's best to run to the left and then shoot them as they come down the walkway. And then Big Boy there will come out at some juncture, grenade into a pile of enemies, and it does crap. It does nothing. But if you do that, then you don't get this kind of bottleneck here where you're being shot and having to scope the hell out, you know, and deal with all that kind of crap. But the worst part of what happens here, even though we don't suffer any major penalty for it, is this guy actually gets away from us. So while we had turned around there, he had he threw a grenade at George, and I jumped right into it because George is completely useless on legendary difficulty for the most part. The only one that's ever useful on a consistent basis is June, until he starts ruining your stealth sections in Nightfall. But either way, and then the only other type, I guess, would be someone with a headshot weapon. So sometimes I think Kat has a pistol. And when she has a pistol, she's effective. And then Carter always has a DMR, making him much more effective. So if they can get headshots, sometimes they can get a couple of headshots for you on enemies. Thanks a lot, you brick. And again, he's a grenade magnet and he jumps in front of me. Who the hell is on my team here? I don't know. I don't know who's on my team in this game. This is why I think I refuse to go back and improve it, at least at this point. I cannot stand the way the gameplay is in this game. And on legendary difficulty, it's just so much more pronounced how screwy it really is, and how much it really impairs your ability to develop the skills and the patience necessary to play this game at a high level. I mean, I can do it. And obviously, from my career, I've done it many, many times, but it's just, I don't know why I keep coming back. I really don't. There's definitely better campaigns. There's better video games overall. And the people that designed this really had it out for the player if they wanted the player to enjoy a game the way it's meant to be played, or a Halo game the way it's meant to be played. But I would argue it's just about any game the way it's meant to be played. We get lucky there because I think that fell inside that server thing there. So I'm used to finishing this level in about 12 minutes. So this ran a little bit long, unfortunately. But that just is what it is. So we're going to come back out to the theater menu, and we're going to pull from temporary files the next mission, Oni Sword Base, which is where I prolong things quite a bit by making a mistake and deviating from my route. I'll try to explain what that is the best I can. But in all reality, Oni Sword Base is absolutely a filthy level to have to play for this kind of challenge if you're trying to do stuff that's not casual. Because, again, as I said before, and I think speedrunners know this well, when you get the ghost early and you try to boost around areas, the struggle you start to have involves boosting past enemies with small arms or with unwieldy, in terms of their ability to turn, ghosts being able to shoot you with aimbot accuracy. Well, the reason why is because it is an aimbot accuracy. And why in the world they would include that, why they would not figure out a way to make it feel a little more realistic, that when you're going fast that made a difference, or, you know, again, when you throw a grenade into a pile of enemies, you know, you just expect those kind of things to work until you start playing Halo Reach. And of course, neither of them had a plasma pistol, much less gave me one. So we're going to have to take our bad RNG for what it's worth.
You've got enemy contact, Spartans.
So what I've taken to doing whenever this occurs is just running out of this and go and find a plasma pistol behind where all this is at, so I guess to the right. I mean, I'm not prepared to restart the whole thing just because I can't get a measly little plasma pistol, but oh well. But right now, I think I'm just keeping pressure on his shields. It'd be nice to have some help with that, or if his shields weren't 8 times over shields. Garbage. No one liked that in Halo 2 when the elites were like that. I'm not sure why it's got to be like that here. No one liked that. Just the inordinately stronger shields for one single enemy, so I'm not really sure. So in a new route that I've actually been working on, despite my absolute no desire never to do this again, but I'm still working on it today just to see, would be to take the sniper rifle with me over into, I guess, with me as I have the Ghost, and use it to snipe the Ghost in the one section outside of the anti-aircraft gun section. But I wasn't doing that here, obviously.
Firing on target.
I thought that was a grunt. I hate this game. I do. I hate it. I hate this game. Oh god, it's like they all telepathically communicate. Oh, he's got a sniper rifle, so no one get even close to in the way. Just thank God other Halo games weren't like that, or I guess we wouldn't have the popular series that we have today. Yeah, keep on skating around, you robots. It's so sick. It's just disgusting. That you can fire that accurately and skate around like that is just a joke. It's just a sick joke. And I don't know who the hell developed this game to be like that. And why the hell is he shooting at me while Cat's standing right there? What, you can't, that's another thing. You can't flank enemies anymore, man. They don't give a crap, dude. You are numero uno. Everybody on the enemy AI knows who player 1 is, man. They know who player 1 is.
Number 2 to sword control.
It's just sick.
Courtyard is clear. Over.
Head for the main gate to the east. I'll brief you as you go.
Sword control, I see it. Target located. Any artillery support in the area?
Limited, but we'll prioritize.
So this is a very casual way to handle this part, as you can imagine. So my goal is to take one of the Wraiths. Again, very casual way of running this, but much safer than putting yourself in the Ghosts and trying to have fun.
Use the target locate on that Wraith.
And I sure as hell am not going to put my hands, put my run in the hands of the friendly AI with their ability, or inability rather, to use the rocket launcher and or chain gun properly. Rather have the primary weapon in my hands. Trying to goad him into shooting at me. Then I realized that this is probably a worse approach since you have a bunch of Marines over here that'll draw its fire, so... But I take my chance anyway and hop in the turret, getting him to get out. Sometimes he'll try to hop in the turret, interestingly enough. For some reason, Cat likes to take the Wraith, so I just like to get in it and, you know, tell her that it's mine, to stay the hell out of it, get in the turret. Speed this BS up.
The old Farragut station has its own comms array. That should bring us back online with command. Airview Base has an anti-air battery that will help clear the skies.
AA gun is to the west. Comes the raise.
Oh, look at this garbage. Here's some real reach garbage here. This is it. Look at this garbage. Look at that garbage. It's not even remotely facing me. Aimbot bullshit. That's what that is. That's aimbot garbage. Much less the fact that I should have smashed that ghost to pieces when I ran through it.
Let's search the area for a generator, 6.
I'll tell you, man, if Combat Evolved would have played like this, I would have never bought another Halo game. Never, ever. I mean, this game has the best cinematography of any Halo. I think its story is massively underrated. I think that, I love the characters. I don't know why people give that so much flack, it seems like, but, yeah. Art design, the level design even, but the gameplay is just it's a gentleman's C at best, man. I think someone should have talked to that development team about what a Halo is all about. I truly don't think any of them had actually played Halo very much at all. And if you know anything about Reach's development, I mean, yeah, it was Bungie in name, but it was gameplay-wise, it wasn't the same team. It was the B team, while the A team went and made, you know, went and started on Destiny, I'm assuming, or had left altogether.
Following your footsteps, 6.
So yeah, this is a massively, massively casual approach. But again, it comes from trying to make consistent a ghost boosting run through here and constantly failing as a result of aimbot bullshit that you saw earlier whenever the ghost was literally in the air facing downward, you know, perpendicular to the ground and still able to shoot me. After I ran it through with the Wraith and it survived. I mean, and why a needler round, or needle round, would damage me in any way, shape, or form with it literally glancing off the hull of the Wraith is beyond me. I mean, it does little nublets of damage, but you get in trouble at times later on when you're in a vehicle and they're spamming that crap at you because it prevents your shields from recharging.
You did it, 6. Comms array up and running. Now let's head for Airview Base and get that AA gun online.
Let's do that.
Spartans, this is Sword Control. Thought you could use some mobile firepower.
Always. Take that hog, 6.
Now, Cat, I think we're good in the tank, man. Whatever. And whoever came up with the boost cycles for these sprint and for the Wraith and the Ghost, the fact that it takes up so much of the boost just to get the boost or the sprint started is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, don't include it if you're not going to do it right. Don't include it. Why they had to nerf that, I'm not sure.
Should be a reset control somewhere to get it online.
You should just be able to boost ghosts as long as you wanted to.
Eyes up, better.
It's taking away more and more of the player's ability to enjoy themselves and to make a game seem harder than it actually is. To make AI seem smarter than they ever are, which is not smart. You know, when you just stick a big aura around the player and let the AI just follow that, that doesn't seem smart. That seems stupid. They're too stupid to keep up with me, so... That's not happening here. I mean, obviously I'm in the tank, they can see me, but anyway. Never quite understood, though, why, you know, they're so aggressive at initial sight. I mean, you can't tell that it's me in the tank. I mean, if I saw a Scorpion tank roll up, dude, my first thought would be, oh, the cavalry has arrived. So if, like, an elite was hanging out in it and blew me away, it'd be like, holy hell. I mean, once I start acting aggressively, I get that. But, I mean, it's just one of those mechanics that they could have included a long time ago, much less to this point, that I think would have made things a little more interesting. Maybe make it a little more advantageous to hijack a weapon. So we finally get that jackrabbit. Now we got to get this big boy up here. I mean, I don't know who this game was built for. Was it built for us or the developers? Was it built for the developers so they could look back and say, yeah, like some, you know, graduate students for some crap computer programming college? Oh, I can build a game that's hard. Watch this. Impressive. I'm impressed. What happened to all that courage the elites are supposed to show, huh? Well, I gotta sit there and wait. Sick. So here's the mistake I made with my safe run is that, well, not exactly here. This is part of it, actually. So I like to get the Warthog and take it through. Very easy, very simple path to do that with as long as you kill this Revenant off of the dropship. The Revenant will heal itself because this game is a pile of crap. So, you know, while it takes your chapter heading, the reticle away during the chapter heading and all that stuff, you need to be sure and shoot that thing down before it passes a certain point and starts to heal itself. And then you take that hog, you kill the Marine because he's useless, and you just drive right on through here pretty much. I forget that and go the slow, much more casual way. I promise you I'd be willing to bet $1 million that that ghost is invincible until you pass a magic line over here. Thanks a lot, B-Team. Bungie B-Team, I appreciate it. Nice programming, dude. You got me, man. I can't kill an invincible thing. And you got self-healing revenants. I'm impressed. It was about this time where I realized that I was in the wrong vehicle for this type of run. Because normally I don't tangle with any of this in this run. I mean, why Cat can't shoot at it, but he can shoot at me? Go figure. Go figure, man. Go figure. But we keep playing. We keep putting up with it. I've been putting up with it for 8 years. And, oh, these Revenants. These pile of crap concussion rifle vehicles. I compare them to concussion rifles because of how crappy they are. Whenever you actually, I mean, you can barely kill a grunt with one straight shot. You can't kill a jackal with one straight shot. They drive it, they can destroy you and your Warthog. I've even had them kill me in a fully armored tank. It's like they hit me just right. And they can spam it faster than you can, I swear to God. And why they messed with the arc of it, made it different than the Wraith's arc, that mortar, I have no idea. But that thing might as well shoot red foam whenever you're firing it. They got it, dude. That thing's a nightmare. It's the concussion rifle of vehicles. It's trash. And it's the only chance they got. The only chance you got to make this game feel hard, to seem hard, is crap like that. Now, if you think about it, Oni Sword Base as it's designed is a really, really, really good level. It really is. Winter Contingency is probably the best overall first level. I don't know why I'm tangling with this guy again. I guess forgetting that I'm not really concerned with killing the Bob over here. All you have to do is run past a certain point and he starts to run away. So, I don't know. Go figure. Go figure, man. I don't know. Pile of crap. Oh where has my rocket launcher gone? Oh where could it be? You remember that weapon that you couldn't point it shoot straight. Like you had to learn how to shoot it at enemies' feet at just the right spot. Yeah, take that skill and throw it away, dude. That skill's gone. On legendary difficulty, you point it at people's feet, you might get half the enemies, maybe. Maybe all the grunts, maybe at one of the jackals. If you ain't played this on Legendary WoW, go try it. Go test it out.
Let's get to the atrium. We'll have to go through the security office. Elevator, Lieutenant. Take it.
Did I mention that before? Did I mention that I really honestly hope that the people that develop this game get Ebola? I really do. I'd love to have been in that meeting that day. I'd love to have been in that meeting. I really would have. When they decided to take away hard ping grenade plasma sticks. I'd also like to have been in the meeting where they screwed with whatever the hell it is that makes grenades piss poor accurate, or whenever you get a red reticle on an elite face and it doesn't count as a shot. I'd love to have been in those meetings too. You know, every other game I've ever played, when you get red reticle, that's pretty much activating the aim assist for us console peasants, because you know aiming with 2 analog sticks sucks if you don't have any help with it at all. Especially when dealing with aimbot AI. But not reach.
Head upstairs and assist the meal. George,
You can just run past these guys. I'm not sure why. I guess it never hurts to kill them, but... Get the hell out of my way, George, for the love of God. So this is the only, I guess, major skip I used in Oni Sword Base. I just wasn't, I was too lazy, and I don't love speedrunning enough to practice the stuff outdoors. If I had to go back and do it again, which, God bless, I hope I don't decide to go back and do it again, I would probably work on, I guess, getting the patience that's required so that, you know, I would just run Oni Sword Base, and if it didn't work, if I couldn't get it, you know, within the span of time that I thought was best, the strats, given the strats available, then I would just, I guess, restart like a speedrunner. And why this glorified set piece has to turn into, you know, let's see if we get good RNG or bad RNG in terms of how many Banshees are here, or how good a meal is at shooting them, Oh yeah, by the way, Emil can't destroy them with one rocket because they nerfed that for some god-awful reason. I mean, at no other point does any of your teammates have a rocket launcher, so they specifically scripted him to be nerfed here. You know, this can't be the same team that made Halo 3 ODST, because you want to do a part like this right, go play the last part of NMPDHQ. That's how you do a part like this correctly. You don't go nerfing crap and programming junk to be garbage and no fun. But, you know, that was the Halo Reach way. And I'm pretty sure that same team, or a lot of that team, worked on Halo 4, because it feels the exact same on Legendary difficulty in so many instances. So let's go to Nightfall. Pull it from temporary files, just so we know for sure that this is the exact file that was, or the exact performance from that run. You know, and I'm sorry for sounding salty, and if you love Reach, then keep loving it. Don't let me change your opinion about it. If you love it, you love something about it. So don't let me change your mind. So Nightfall is a pretty short mission. Even for a non-speedrunner, it's still a short mission because the running in this game is fairly easy. But unfortunately, the world-class style run, which I would say is at least got to be under 5 minutes, maybe even under 4 at this point, I'm not sure, you'd run past all this stuff here. But for a Deathless run, and for a guy who does not want to sit here and run Oni and Winter Contingency over and over again, you're going to see a slightly slower performance than you've probably seen before. And by slightly, I mean, you know, quite slower. And unfortunately, I made a mistake in Nightfall that results in... You didn't even see that grenade, you piece of crap. You were behind a rock. So notice how I juggle the abilities here, the armor abilities. I do like to use, or I did like, to use the active camouflage. But to be honest with you, if I had to do this over again, I wouldn't even bother with it. So I like to have the active camouflage while I'm sniping the Rangers, and hopefully, very quickly, the Spec Ops Elite. And just at various points, but once I go down there, or before I go down there, I should say, I like to switch off the sprint. Well, I forgot to do that here. And so it slowed this performance down because I was, you know, more in casual mode. For whatever reason. Yeah, all those 350 times I've played it, and, you know, 219 or whatever that those are very, very few of those, or anything that could be confused with a speed run. That's for sure. Come on up here. Have your vengeance, pal. So what I'd like to do here is for the general to be in the spot he is like 80% of the time, which is next to that tank. I can blow up the tank and either kill him outright or put him in a position where he's easy to snipe. Well, less shots, you know, to snipe him. And then use the other tank for the jackals once they're coming off of the Phantom. After I've shot the two elites coming off the Phantom. That's the ideal way to do this. It doesn't always work like that because RNG is a bitch. And so what I do here instead is I think the general makes a move, so I have to shoot that alternate tank that I use for the jackals to get rid of him. So it kind of screws up my mojo here. So this guy gets past us, I believe. Which kind of sucks, and I think it kind of threw me off a little bit in terms of not getting that sprint. I just come down here and start attacking from this side. I think it's usually when I go back up to kill the jackals with a shot to that tank is when I'll grab sprint and then come on down here. Oh, where has my pistol gone? I mean, what's sad is that, you know, Reach really, to its theoretical credit, brought back a usable pistol. But it's no CE pistol, that's for sure. It's definitely no CE pistol. And even though you saw this in Halo 2 and Halo 3, and probably a couple times in Halo 1, one of my least favorite things about Halo games, something they still haven't fixed, is, you know, when there's textures like grasses and such that they can see through perfectly and you can't? You can both shoot through it, but they can see through it perfectly. Yeah, I hate that crap. You know what it does? It's like Sierra 117. It makes the enemy look like they're more familiar with your home world and how to dig in your home world than you do. It's disgusting. Don't include all that crap unless you're going to make it at least obscure the player in some way, shape, or form. Other games have done that. It doesn't have to be solid geometry for it to obscure you. Because it sure as hell obscures them when they're hiding in that crap. And I don't think they purposefully hide in it. They just naturally are walking through it. I don't think I'm not suggesting they're programmed to be in the tall grasses. Or to find those and then shoot and take advantage of that. It's just the fact that they exist and don't obscure you or don't nerf the enemy's accuracy is a joke. And I found out later on, well, and I totally bonked this. This is really easy. If you just shoot them and wait for them to settle, then you'll never miss a shot. So I got a little overexcited or impatient here, and it did not bode well for my accuracy there. It's not a big difference. It's just, you know, kind of embarrassing. Of course, even all the more embarrassing was the fact that I forgot sprint. And by the way, it's gone. It's gone. That's another crap thing about Reach is that, you know, back in, you know, from Halo 3 and ODST and back, if you drop anything, it stays there forever. It stays there forever. At least in terms of, you know, things that are accessible to you. Now, if you go through a major part of the level and can't go backwards, I don't know what the heck happens to it. But picking up a weapon or something like that made it to where it would stay there. Not now. Not with Reach. They had to change that crap too. And I understand it to some degree because, you know, guns typically have the most polygons. And that stuff uses up resources. But I don't know. I'm sure there's a better answer besides taking away the only sprint armor ability that's on the map up until much, much later on in this mission. You could, you know, maybe take away some of these plasma pistols that keep repeating over and over again. And they're probably still back there if I went into that area now. Just a thought. This is another garbage part to try to speedrun unless you're an expert. Well, or unless you can revert. Because the problem with this part is that these piece of crap Gutas, or whatever they're called, they have AI that knows exactly where you're at all times. So if they're not attending to one of the enemies, then they just find you. Again, you have this, just pretend you have this aura around you. And this is what makes speedrunning the first part of Nightfall so hard. Is that if you run through, the enemy falls back to guard the exit to that area and to the Guta area. Doesn't matter if they know where you are or not, or have seen you if you've been in camo the whole time. If June alerts them, which he will, and puts them in combat mode, they'll follow you all the way back. They'll guard that entrance. That's how I killed those two elites that I was missing. They were just standing there because they're not moving. I'm at a place where now they're guarding the exit. Now, if they never saw me and I was back there in camo, they'd still guard it. They move back to where you are, even if they don't know where you are yet, even if they haven't reacted to you yet. Yet another specific programming decision. Sometimes I wish this was like Halo 2, and it was just like one or two things. Yet you have paper-thin shields, and therefore jackal snipers, and it can kill you in one shot. Elites will gun you down really fast, you know, if you just stand there, if you're not in cover. I mean, this isn't harder than Halo 2, but I swear to God, it's more frustrating to play.
Bastards just keep coming.
Recon Bravo to Noble 2. We've lost the civilians.
Hold up. Copy dropship. Take cover.
Okay, clear. Let's move.
This is a consequence of not bringing sprint. So we just have to slow our way through here. But I can promise you, it had disappeared. I can promise you that. It had already disappeared
Seeing this?
by the time I realized that I had forgotten it. Again, just like in Oni, it's just a consequence of having played this casually many times and not using sprint during casual play.
Think of a not-dead charge on it. Command is planning something big. They say that pylon dies at dawn.
So this is the safe way to do the forklift glitch. You kill all those dudes, and then you run over here, well, walk over here, and kill these guys. I just wish it read my inputs properly, because the last thing I would ever want to do is go through that stupid assassination animation while I'm up there. But it's just, you know, this is what it is. I'll give Halo 5 a lot of credit for that. I think you can turn assassinations off in that game, which is kind of cool if you think about it. That it allows you to, they have the foresight, you know, that sometimes you might be playing a little more seriously and not want to have to go through that stuff that was never part of Halo before. And I'm not an expert at this glitch. I just know if I can get myself, or where I get out, positioned right in the seam of that door, then I know this trick will work. But I think I started off by hitting that stupid piece of geometry that's, you know, that diagonal thing or whatever that no one would have complained about not being there if it wouldn't have been there. But yeah, not only do you have to put it there, but you have to give it geometry, or give it collision.
There's a gate to the southeast of the hydro.
I mean, I hate to bitch about that. I mean, that's not a pixel perfect trick. And certainly you can be practiced enough to make that quicker. I just hit it at that wrong angle, and it nudged my forklift in a way that I'm not used to being able to do. Not used to being able to, I guess, have to deal with to get that, I guess, in a singles. I don't know. I want to say first cycle, like it's a side scroller. I'm sorry for these jitters. I'm not really sure what the problem is. I record this with the Xbox One X DVR, which does an infinitely better job than my capture card. Or at least that's what I'm figuring out. But I guess maybe I did these too quickly or something. I don't know. I think you got to let them cook a little bit in there. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm really exhausted with seeing these performances, to be honest with you. But I did want to put up something else besides my yelling and screaming from the other one. So anyway, yeah, we're done with Nightfall there. And I hope you guys have enjoyed thus far. On to Tip the Spear next. Alright, I hope you guys are ready for Tip of the Spear. Nope, temporary history is where we're going here. I think I finally got out of casual mode by the time I got here. So first things first, of course, we're going to be dodging these abomination weapons that Halo Reach brought us. The concussion rifle of the Elite and the fuel rod turrets that pack the power of a Wraith mortar, but track and can be manned by grunts and are useless if you take them over. So part of the trick is to get rid of them, of course. At least that initial one. And of course they're programmed to know exactly where the hell you're at all times, so don't think for a second you're safe over here. Even though it's impossible for either of them to have seen you. Especially since they begin the game automatically looking at the Falcon. I spend maybe a little more time over here killing things because I don't want my Warthog all beat up. I do want to have it be functional. So we're past those robots, or aimbots, or whatever you want to call them. On to 3 more of them over here, but we're going to headshot them before they have a chance to do any damage to us. Because the Warthog is no match for needle rifle rounds that glance off of it.
Those guns are pounding us with high-velocity plasma shells.
And then we're going to go over here and stop a ghost troll with aimbot accuracy, so we don't have to come through here to get to the portable bridge once we've destroyed the anti-air gun and have to face off against it. If our guy will only shoot at it as soon as it gets in range. Don't worry, he'll get his report card in a little bit. Now he's drawing attention to us that I don't want.
Excuse me, am I in your way?
God, Melee's so freaking broken in this stupid game. Still not 100% sure why Carter at some point, or Dodd, or whoever, you know, talk about this not being something you can destroy with quote-unquote conventional weapons. Because it can be destroyed with conventional weapons.
Control 2, Lima 4. Permission to commence bombing run. Heading 224.6, over.
6, Pelican inbound with a portable bridge. Once it's in place, head over to the southwest side.
Good work, Noble 6. UNSC air support. Skies are
If the
clear.
Warthog didn't weigh 200 pounds, we could go over that with style and have fun, but, you know.
Permission granted out.
And a rare example of a time whenever a skirmisher uses its hologram in the campaign. At least on Legendary. It happens a lot in Firefight, but you don't see it too much on Legendary. It's kind of cool. So Tip of the Spear is probably the, it's probably as easy a mission
Noble 6,
as it goes in a run like this.
Covenant are using it as a command outpost. Troopers on site have already engaged.
There's a lot of neat skips, easy to accomplish for a non-speedrunner like myself. I mean, you could call it a skip, essentially. Being able to take down the anti-air gun with the rockets, and later on, the Warthog turret. This is proof, if there is any, that I'm not a speedrunner. And these guys are all programmed to follow you regardless of what's going on with the Marines over there. So you can run past them, of course, or you can take them out because they're all holding overcharges. Just waiting for you to go by there. Making it impossible if you do anything else other than kill them from range.
New intelligence. Friendly forces near the Covenant outpost have sighted a high-value target. An elite zealot, in fact.
Well, I do like this mission, but I always found it interesting that that zealot thing was a part of the mission.
If you get the chance.
I mean, nothing is really made of why this facility is important or why a zealot would be here. Zealots are religious fanatics, or at least I guess the tool of religious fanatics. We knew why, or we find out later why they were at Oni Sword Base, but we don't find out why they were here. I'm assuming there's some cut content there. Maybe if they'd have put the Bungie A-Team on this game in terms of its gameplay and or story, maybe we'd had a little more time to figure out why this facility was important, other than the fact that it was next to a, you know, the clashing of these armies. May have given us some hint as to why the invading army had landed here or was around here. But again, not at all a bad mission, unless you played on Legendary and proposed to do it without dying, or do a full game signal segment, and then it becomes one that's, oh god, my movement was way off there, but it just is how it goes, I guess. Ugh. This is not even a hard jump, not even for me. So I see the Wraith still over there, so I decide, what the hell, I won't need that weapon. We get on the turret here and take this Tyrant gun out pretty fast. And the Wraith's still over there shooting, so it looks like we'll be able to take this out pretty fast. A handful of mortars here and there over in the crowd, and we'll be done with it. But first, let's get rid of the gunner. And then we're going to go over and grab the Revenant and charge it. And it is gone. Because this part is largely broken and random and weird and doesn't make a lot of sense most of the time. So we'll go back and get our plasma launcher, which we'll need. Hopefully it'll do its job. So the Falcon's nowhere to be found for reasons. And shooting this white or red foam over there ain't going to do any good, so, I don't know. Sometimes I'm in the habit of destroying that whenever I get pissed off at the arc being so way off from the way the Wraiths work, or, I don't know, the fact that you can hit a Jackal straight up with it and it not kill them, but it can destroy you and your Warthog if they hit you with it in Oni Sword Base. That's real fair. I got lucky here, though, I will admit that. If you look to the right, you'll see a hunter sneaking up on me. I mean, hunters aren't even that sneaky. Not really sure why I was allowing that to occur. But of course, there was a Falcon here. If I had the Wraith that I should have. And of course, this guy goes right next to a tree just as soon as those get ready to track, which is just awesome. Yeah, I remember it was just one shot in the back for these guys. I miss those days. I mean, it doesn't have to be that easy, but for the love of God, who the hell was clamoring for these guys to be bullet sponges, and why the freak won't that frickin' last bolt track? I'll tell you, man, this game is a frickin', it's a piece of crap. Yeah, those will track, thank goodness. I mean, I really don't know what to say here except for, I don't know, it's boring and sucks. We have, the Falcon can be here, ripping things apart. We could have a Wraith and could be moving right on.
George has a Falcon inbound your position, Lieutenant. Highlighting the
I'm not even sure what the hell brings this Falcon up. I mean, there can be enemies left over, there can be hunters left over and this happened, but I don't know. So sometimes there's enemies over there, so you can't get too confident. Just because the Falcon's shown its face.
I'll call out targets as we go.
So you can get trolled like hell in this thing, man. depends on how much the enemies on the ground fire at you, whether or not their small arms have tracking rounds, which they do for some god-awful reason. That was specifically programmed here because otherwise they do not. But I've got plenty of experience with this part to let you know that it does. But they do. The programming does exist. So what's supposed to be a glorified set piece where they tie you to a stupid turret can also be your worst nightmare in a run like this. Hell, I had a piece of the Falcon flake off and me hit it with a grenade. I crap you not.
Nice shooting, Mark. Stay sharp, kids. We're not understanding yet.
But far be it for there to just be a, you know, a set piece, a playable set piece, an on-rail section that doesn't involve some real garbage. It doesn't stop at tip of the spear, that's for sure, so...
Affirmative, sir. Here we go.
So the main goal here is to shoot around George and hopefully kill a few of these skirmishers, just to make the route over to the truck safer.
Copy. We have your visual. Dot's working the problem. Stand by.
And usually the skirmishers swarm here, but they're not going to because, you know, I don't know, reasons.
Engaging. Keep it up.
Just want to find a plasma pistol there just in case this guy didn't have one. He can't move. Maybe you can move him if you throw a grenade at him because God knows it probably won't kill him. But maybe that would move him, I'm not sure. I'd just get the safety jetpack here.
Repositioning. Firing.
Because those aimbots over there can shoot you with their needle rifles, and even the elite on the turret, for God knows what reason. Even if you're sprinting and trying to, you know, crouch jump up there, it happens. It freaking happens, man. I tell you. I don't know if I've ever died there before, but definitely had a scare or two.
You find a way to the top of the spire. Noble leader. Six is on his
So I
way.
take a safe route here instead of. I was tempted, but I'm gonna take the safe route and just shoot this fuel rod troll in the face
Ready when you are, Six.
if I can, and just start peppering that elite. So maybe we can even get him inside there, or if he throws a grenade, he'll throw it and hit that wall or the bulwark or whatever. I don't know why I did that. I have no idea really. At some point, I know this piece of crap Banshee is gonna troll me. It never ever faces me down like that, but it happens to here. While I was nearly 4 levels in to a Deathless run of the entire campaign in one sitting. Alright, so we finish out Tipo the Spear. You know, now it's really time for the run to begin. Long Night of Solace. A run just doesn't really begin without Long Night of Solace. The Long Night of Solace for me is one of those missions that I really enjoy overall. One of my favorite missions of all time, at least the top 5. I mean, it really is special. Then you throw it on legendary difficulty and let Bungie's B team have at it, and becomes one of the worst levels to play on this difficulty, especially if you're going for you know, a deathless run. It turns a mini game into the absolute scariest thing for a deathless run. By far, the scariest part.
Launch facility, dead ahead.
Yeah, I can't find a plasma pistol where I just grenaded a bunch of dudes, so whatever. There's always a needler there. There's always a frickin' needler there. Because I like catching that guy out of that drop pod. Go figure, trying to have fun. You know, I'm a console peasant. Give me some frickin' headshot bullet mag. Piece of garbage game, I swear to God. Or just shoot where the reticle's at, I don't know. That'd have been just fine then. I love almost getting grenaded by an elite ultra who can't even see me because he's, you know, aiming for my guys there. It's just awesome. Oh yeah, go into armor lock, you coward. You ain't got nothing else. You ain't got nothing else but that shit. I like to ask somebody who made grenades or familiar with grenades. I mean, if it makes hard contact with something, does it just bounce, or can it blow up when you make contact with something? That's what I want to know. I don't know if grenades actually are that ineffective in real life. You know, someone asked me a long time ago if you could cook grenades in Halo, and I laughed at them. I mean, this is a long time ago. And I laughed at them. I'm like, why would you want to do that? That is, you know, that is so stupid. But Reach is the first game where I actually wish you could do something to manipulate their effectiveness besides just deal with what the developers gave you. I mean, I don't know if cooking would be the right answer. I would say something else is the right answer. But I don't know. Just a thought. I just find that so funny someone asked that. Because it's such a dumb thing. But then, you know, then I play Reach. I'm like, yeah, give me something. Some other option besides the crap that I get right now. Get off of that damn thing. Why you can't trade weapons with someone while they're doing that is beyond me. I mean, that's programmed in, man. They programmed that in.
We've got a wraith on the lower platform.
Controls right through that door, Commander.
Oh, where has my rocket launcher gone? So we get a mandatory cutscene here, as most Reach players know, which is fine. It's a beautiful cutscene. I mean, it's, you know, you see it so many times, and it does lose its luster but only because of that. Only really because of that. And I think it exists in a way because I think it's I think it's part of it is maybe a loading, kind of a fancy loading screen. I'm not really sure. Maybe someone can tell me.
First stage engine running.
I don't know. I actually I guess developers have this notion of this idea that you know, most players just you know, A or whatever, just select out of the cutscene. And I gotta admit, I'm pretty surprised to hear that that's something that people do in a first or even a second playthrough of any game, much less of a Halo game. I mean, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, but I had a hard time believing that. I had a hard time believing that someone would, you know, purchase a game, play through the story mode or the campaign or whatever people call it these days. Back in the day, you should just be the game. But yeah, why you would do that and not, you know, try to keep up with what was going on, try to enjoy that element of it, I'm not sure. But you know, when you play a stage over 100 times, one way or another, it'd be kind of nice to, you know, skip past the cutscene, you know, that you've seen 100 of those times. There's a broken ass return to battlefield. I don't know what the hell where that would come from. A soft kill barrier out in space. How awesome. Right next to the Savannah and Anchor 9.
Unidentified contacts.
Savannah actual to Saber teams. Be advised, we have bogeys inbound.
Anchor 9 to all UNSC ships. Station defenses are down. Requesting combat support until we can bring them back online. Here we go, 6. Show them what you can do.
I've done a better job of wiping out those Banshees. I forgot, I think when I was doing it, that you know, if you really want to wipe them out fast enough when you're at that part, you need to kind of shoot ahead of them. We've got an ultra aggressive Banshee here, and one that won't get shot. So right after that, they all beam in. I like to just get really aggressive with this group here.
Saber teams, use your guns to take down their shields, then hit them with your missiles.
Sometimes they get really aggressive with you, though, on legendary difficulty.
Buy us another minute, Saber teams.
And I can understand, I really can, I can understand them being able to pound away at your shields pretty bad, but pretty fast, rather. But I'm not really sure why your hull strength is so weak. I'm not really sure why that has to be the case with the plasma. Now the next wave coming up is the hardest wave. And what I generally like to do is try to take out as many Banshees as possible to get those Phantoms in faster. And hide behind Anchor 9. Not have fun, essentially. Because the game can scramble 3 or 4 of those Seraphs to come at you and shoot aimbot accurate shots out of any side of their face that they want to. Yes, Seraphs aren't supposed to be able to do that, but trust me, they will and can and often do. No matter how much you're juking, no matter how much you're flipping and turning, if it wants to scramble 3 or 4 of them to kill you from anywhere in this, you know, arena, if you will, it will do it. So you just have to come behind here. Unless you're really trying to, you know, unless you don't care about dying, I guess. I was gonna almost say unless you're trying to have fun, but you know, it's no fun to be scrambled, you know, to have 4 or 5 of them scrambled, 3 or 4 scrambled. I've seen it on theater enough times to know that they can just be kind of floating around or attacking your guys, whatever. And then all of a sudden they gear in on you, and no matter where they're at, doesn't matter if they're above or below you. They don't even have to point up. They can be going in a totally different direction, except for I've never seen one shoot backwards out of its face. That, I'm sure that can happen. I just hadn't seen it yet.
Anchor 9 to Saber teams. Phantoms are inbound on Vector 7, Mark 4-9er.
Seraph is tagging my fighter. OD down. Taking fire.
Anchor 9 to all UNSC.
So the goal is to get rid of all these phantoms that I don't believe Anchor 9 can get rid of, even though you'll see Anchor 9 just pound the hell out of them at times. I'm not sure what scared me there enough to flip out of it. Oh, it was that guy who's shooting out of the side of his stupid face. Flying in a whole different direction. But, you know, whatever, dude. Just, you know, keep being a piece of crap cheater. Aimbot. The AI for the Seraphs does get slightly less aggressive in this section, but as soon as you kill the last Phantom, the AI shuts off, and I've never seen anything different than that. So I did take that was a close call there.
Anchor 9er to UNSC ships. All targets neutralized. Bravo 029er, you are clear to dock. Activating marker.
Holland to Bravo 029er. Noble 5, you ready to go? Affirmative, Colonel.
So another mandatory, unskippable cutscene here.
I need your override.
Another really good one.
Cockpit depressurization complete. Canopy release lever armed.
I know I'm hard on Reach. I really do love it. I think I really do love it. It's just again, I think I said this earlier. I mean, you start playing this on legendary difficulty, you start trying to do it without dying, you start doing crazy stuff like trying to run the game all the way through in the fastest way you can or without dying, and it just exposes a lot of the cracks and seams and a lot of the troll programming that belongs in a super expert Mario Maker level, if you know what that is.
Bravo 29er, you're cleared to re-engage thrusters. Noble 6, this is Holland.
Go ahead, Colonel.
We've flagged a Corvette.
And I don't think in every Halo did they ruin certain levels that were really good just because they were on legendary difficulty, but
Noble 5 will escort the bomb. I need your safety.
that's exactly what they did in a lot of these levels. It just ruins the enjoyment of it. You have to play it with such a serious amount of I guess awareness of the various trolls that exist throughout the game.
We'll get it done, Colonel. 6 out.
And Long Night of Solace is most undoubtedly one of them.
Target corvette sighted within visual range of nav beacon RA-15.
We have visual. Target confirmed.
Frigate Savannah in position.
So I like to get under here as fast as possible, ignoring, you know, all the Seraphs, the little turrets here and there, and the engines, even the engines. I would rather go ahead and make this work before we start worrying about anything else.
Clear a path to
because as soon as you take out enough of these enemies, you'll get the call to start taking out the engines.
See if we can slow her down.
Not that you can beforehand, but it's nice to go ahead and get that knocked down. But you will have to kill all the enemies, or at least they'll all have to die before you can get into the art of prayer. And very close call there. The run could have easily ended there.
I'm hit. Taking the shot. Bingo. Great shooting. Weapons hot. You're targeting me.
Let's stay the hell out of the way. I'm hoping that my so-called friendly AI and the Savannah can take out that last Seraph. That'd be nice. And usually after I do that, I'm hoping that we're in the same kind of rhythm where the Savannah is had just passed by there. And then I just hide behind it and let the Seraphs run into it if that's what they're going to do. And sometimes they do this garbage, but sometimes this garbage is exactly what you're looking for and hoping for. And they'll just smash into the Savannah. Because for whatever reason, the troll aimbot program didn't account for this big giant brick flying around out here with the multiple turrets. There's one. Smashes in right there. Here's another one that's about to get his ass kicked. A couple more trolls trying to take us out, but they smash into the Savannah all the same. And I tell you, the sweetest sound you can hear if you're deathless going into this part is Colonel Urban Holland saying, "Dot. Analyze that data on the top side of that Corvette," or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just give me that marker ASAP. Let's get out of here. Alright, this is always going to be a little scary doing this. Because on Legendary difficulty, they decided to put 2 more guys in there who can dual wield, unlike you can't. Or unlike you can? What's the... Alright, double negative? I don't know. So slice these 2 guys, and then I usually drop down and drop the bubble shield. For some reason it didn't want to drop just then. That Marine and the shield, I think itself, will both keep the elites occupied, or at least keep them from killing me rather easily. And then I just wait until these cowards can come up here and tangle with me using the minimap. This guy's ready. And this guy looks like he's ready too, but he's going to piddle around for a lot longer than I would have expected. Actually, it wasn't that long now that I think about it. Yeah, he comes over here. For some reason, I didn't sword him right there. He punches a wall with his spastic animation that he doesn't even have to finish to strike to actually land the blow. Again, brilliant programming there on the part of these trolls who made this game. They don't even have to finish their animation to land the melee kill. No other Halo ever that I've ever seen like that. None of them. Not even Halo 2. By far not Halo 2. Their melee animation was very predictable. Or, well, not predictable. Very obvious. I mean, it was a killing blow on Legendary difficulty. It should have been obvious. They should have had to rare back for that thing.
Colonel, on our way to the...
Now here, they can't kill you in one blow on Legendary when you're at full health and shields. So, you know, I'm glad it didn't go back to that. But, you know, by the time you get over to them, they've had a chance to usually hit on you, you know, a couple times with their weapon, and then, bam, you're dead. Even though, you know, you could have swore you got there first and punched them. You know, they're going to finish that animation even if you go, you know, you can't cancel it out with skill and speed. You just die. You just lose. Because you deserve it. Because you weren't standing at medium to long range with a headshot weapon. And just going that route with it. And this box just will not move like it normally does. I think we got it in place. I discovered this crating thing by accident. When one time a crate had blown into here, I used it as cover, and then I started knocking it around, and lo and behold, I found out later on that this was a popular lazo strategy in this area here. And that's when I found out about the sword and its utility. I used to bring, I don't know, probably the DMR and a plasma pistol on board the ship. And, or rocket launcher, I think it's what I used to use for the elites, the rangers. Yeah, but that's too messy. This is a lot more fun. Now, you don't need the sword here, really. You could easily take one of these plasma rifles and take out these weaker shields pretty fast and then just headshot. But what fun is that relative to this? It's the one time in the entire game the sword's actually useful. After being quite useful in Halo 2 and 3. I guess I was just not aware that that thing just does not blow up when you shoot it with the needle rifle as fast as I thought. So, just to be safe, let me go back and grab the plasma pistol over here. A 100 charge. Fully charged. And then as soon as possible I'm going to go get Sprint. Because I'm tired of walking this slow. Of course, you'd never notice it if it weren't for Sprint. But whether you like it or not, I'm sure that if you're watching this, you're glad that I was able to grab it. I really wish that I had an option as to whether or not these Marines had to be here. They screw up the stealth in this section and the next couple sections like you wouldn't believe. Actually, you probably would believe it. They do serve a purpose here, that's for sure. But you've really got to get ahead of them to pull this off. And I've learned that you have to come down before he sets up, otherwise he magically knows that you're there behind him. And then you just take this guy out pretty easily if the other guy doesn't notice you. Now, stealthing the bridge is something that is definitely possible if you don't have Marines with you. If you do have Marines with you, though, or there's 2 grunts standing there, you're pretty much screwed. And since I have 4 Marines that will show up, I'm not going to be out in the middle of all that stuff while they're alerting the enemy to my presence. Jeez, man, that dude took 4 to 7 needles. I know a lot of them hit that damn case, but that's just like Reach 2. It's easier to stick your own man than it is to stick one of these pieces of crap. And of course, without a shield, he survives the blast damage from it, or splash damage. Even without his shields, weakest elite in the game. They do everything in their power to keep you back here. Whether it's the sword guy, overcharges, that bastard concussion rifle, yet you stay back here and this is what you have to deal with. The garbage piece of shit running away. I should have just been spamming that the whole time, I guess. Of course, I'd love to kill that grunt over there, but I apparently forgot that he existed. Actually, not that one. It's the other guy. I take damage even though it hit that straight up. God. Oh, what a joke. Jeez Louise. His stupid concussion rifle ate the damn overcharge. Oh, where has my overcharge gone? Where'd you put it, developers? As old as Halo. And now the stupid concussion rifle can eat a damn overcharge bolt. Tip of the cap to you, sir.
On a refueling track to the supercarrier.
$61. That's as low as it can get. Ah, whatever. Guess there's more over here. Why didn't have an overcharge load up for him? I don't know. Maybe I get discouraged after seeing an overcharge eaten, I guess, for the 3rd time in this playthrough by a stupid concussion rifle bolt. Or whatever they call those things. $64. Oh, $83. Thank you. Anything but track him. Anything but track him. I'll acknowledge, man, I got lucky there. If that had been Halo 2, I'd have been dead.
I'm under fire! Taking enemy fire! Grenade! Check your target. Good of you to come. I'll start
There we
the
go.
hell of a pelican.
90. That's what I'm talking about. I think that's the highest you can get. Aside from a, developer placed plasma pistol that's full. Two. These guys literally have no armor. They should take one punch, and they should explode into 1,000 bits whenever you punch them. Same for those idiots if you can get inside their shields. So I'm making a mistake here that I don't even make on in casual play because I don't get in this turret on casual play. I play this straight up. But normally I kill those grunts first. And to be honest with you, I'm not happy with even getting to this part. I think I'd much rather take these guys out the conventional way. I know it'd be faster. It's not that unsafe at this juncture. Because all the elites want to do is, have their shields stripped and then go run away. Shield strip, run away. Shield strip, run away. I wish George would charge up that damn ramp. That'd be nice. That'd be helpful. Oh, God. I really, truly... Oh, God, we've got another grunt, really. I really did try the spawn trapping of the elites thing, but those majors... Not really sure why it is, but the back smacking them is somehow random whenever you try to spawn trap them. But it works out really nice if you do it, because you can then you kill one of these elites, and then the other three are pretty easy. They'll come right to you. Just stay at the top center of that structure and then just overcharge them as they come.
And stay down. Savannah did a number on the door. There's no way back up to the sailors. That was 6. Form up on
Distance is closing on this vessel's...
Alright, so... At least halfway through. And now we're on to bigger and better, I guess. Bigger and better trolls, that is. Exodus. Alright, so we're back in action here. After a break. At least a break for me from commentary on this project. And we are now going to be covering Exodus, which is probably my biggest failure if you will, in this entire run. I wouldn't blame myself. I don't blame myself totally for it. I made some early mistakes that led to some, a couple minutes here and there. But it was a later pile of troll garbage that resulted in this being extended out about 10 to 15 minutes longer than what I was getting on average with Exodus.
Dispatch. All available teams advance to Traxxas Tower. Evacuation will commence ASAP.
Copy, Dispatch. What's the status of the tower pad?
Tower pad is green. Let's move these civilians before it changes.
Copy, Dispatch. 4-0 out.
Well, I wanted to, as we go through here, I mean, basically the way I handled this was pretty safely. Just, don't get blown up, pretty much. I didn't try to do anything too silly here, but I wanted to mention something. I've had some people comment here and there as I was going through my Deathless runs, and, again, I'm pouring on the salt pretty heavily, and, some people, I have worried a bit that I've offended people that really enjoyed and loved Halo Reach, and to be honest with you, I didn't fall in love. I didn't fall in love with this game playing on Legendary. I sure as heck didn't fall in love with it trying to run the entire campaign on Legendary in a Deathless fashion. So I apologize for any negative things I say about this game, but I was looking at something. I've watched a lot of different videos to try and learn how to best run safe and fast routes. I did learn a lot of safe routes. I didn't necessarily improve the speed on a couple of the levels, and I think the reason why is because it just seems like a lot of the tricks in this game, a lot of the speedrunning, a lot of the good speedrunning stuff just gets is too RNG. It's too RNG on Legendary, and so I went and looked at something that I had been on my mind. I was wondering, like, well, if is Reach the most brutal on Legendary difficulty relative to its easy difficulty? I was thinking about that. Like, when on easy difficulty, theoretically, it doesn't. I guess it wouldn't matter what the RNG was. Like, you could just get through it, or you wouldn't have, I guess, the aimbot BS cranked up to an all-time high. And I just wondered, like, well, relative to its easy difficulty, how hard is Reach in terms of executing the speed and safe strats? And so then I went to HaloRuns.org to meet all of my Halo running needs, and I discovered something that kind of blew me away. So I'm going to read off to you as these grunts continue to blow themselves up. I'm going to read off to you a couple things I want you to keep in mind, and I'm going to pause. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and get through this first, and then I'll read that stuff off during a slowdown part that's coming up later on. HaloRuns.org. Very, very relevant to my point. So if you want to go over there now, before I make it, maybe you can figure out the point I'm going to make. Maybe you can figure it out. If you can't figure it out, that's okay, because it's a point I came up with. You don't have to be a mind reader. So anyway, got rid of those guys. Every time I see that, which has been like, I don't know, 3 times now, I just can't stand watching 2 grenades go into a pile of enemies and it only get 2 kills. I mean, 1 grenade should get all of the kills, but that's every other game I played prior to this one. So yeah, so through here there's some combat and stuff. It's not really that important. I get slowed down by some MLG idiotic brute that you'll see in a little bit. So let me read something off to you, just in case you aren't sure that maybe Reach is, a little more unfair. Legendary seemed to equal unfair for these developers. So for Halo Combat Evolved, the difference between the World Record Easy Run and the World Record Legendary Run is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Both the record by the same guy, the legendary Garish Goblin. What about Halo Classic? What about Halo Classic? You know what the difference between the easy and the legendary is? 14 minutes and 25 seconds. Again, both by the same guy, Cryphon. Halo 3, 10 minutes, 22 seconds. Difference between easy world record and the legendary world record. And these are all pretty up to date except for Halo 4's legendary world record. It came from 2015. Everything else is to either late 2017 or very, very current. ODST, very similar to H3. The difference between easy and legendary world records, these are full game single segment runs, 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Halo 4, 13 minutes, 22 seconds. Halo 5, 13 minutes, 30 seconds. So notice how every, aside from C, which is a bit of an outlier because of the, I think, partly an outlier because of the training part at the beginning of easy, but I think there's another reason why it's an outlier, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Maybe. What do you think reaches is? What do you, we've 3, 10, 13, we had 14 on Halo 2 because everybody knows Halo 2 on Legendary kicked it up a notch. Guess what reaches is? 21 minutes and 6 seconds. 21 minutes and 6 seconds. That's a full 7 minutes difference compared to Halo Classic. The only thing that comes close and actually surpasses it is the difference between the records of easy and legendary on Halo 2 Anniversary, which is currently 23 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, I don't know why that's both by Cryphon as well. I don't know why that's it's so much of a bigger gap than the classic gap. I'm really not sure. But that record has actually been worked on a lot right now because of some major changes that was made to Halo 2. So that may be difference only because Cryphon is currently running easy or legendary in that campaign. I'm not really sure. But out of all of the other campaigns, nothing even comes close to Reach's difference. Now, I mess up a part here. Let me see. Let me go back to this record. I screwed this up big time because instead of actually shooting the DMR, which is the only weapon that the developers wanted you to be able to use in this game effectively, all the power weapons are high skill, low reward, as I said before. But also, I just thought that I could headshot that brute, but then I scope in and he's doing some stupid war crap that, now obscures his head. So it kind of screws me up here. Again, Exodus, my least favorite performance of this entire thing, and part of the reason is because I mucked parts up like that. Another part of the reason, well, we'll see later on when I get trolled like a crazy person. Here I throw a grenade, and watch this. Just as I anticipate the timing of him running, he immediately throws a grenade as soon as I get close to depressing that trigger. So again, this is the kind of crap that you only see on Reach's legendary difficulty. I mean, yeah, you see a little bit of it on normal, a tiny bit on normal, a little bit on heroic, because I have played those difficulties extensively, as you saw at the very first of this video. But on legendary, it becomes a nightmare. A giant freaking nightmare. And it feels like you're constantly playing against a computer. It's like playing chess against a computer. Does the computer want to kick your ass now or later? Because, otherwise, if you're not, I don't know, Bobby Fischer, I don't know, I can't think of that other chess dude who's smart, Kasparov, unless you're that good at chess and can actually compete with the computer itself, the computer's just going to decide whether or not to let you win. If you ever played chess with a computer before, it's really weird. Even if you play it on, playing on the easier difficulties is even weirder. It's like, I think they're programmed to make a mistake here. That's kind of how it is, but except for on legendary difficulty, they're almost never programmed to make a mistake. Aimbot BS, grenades at just the right time whenever you're about to throw one. It's just amazing how unfair it really is. And I truly believe that a good indicator of that, if there's any objective indicators, to look at the difference between the easy, which is going to be all about movement, all about speed, all about using those strats, versus legendary, where it's going to be, a little bit more combat, some of the unsafe strats, some of the strats are too unsafe. Well, in Reach, a lot of the speedrunning strats, a lot of the movement strats are unsafe.
Buzzing about you, Spartan. You feel like jumping? Welcome to the bullfrog. Other side, on my mark. 3, 2, 1, jump!
We're gonna capture the landing pad on the executive wing so the evac birds can land. Try and keep up, Spartan.
So, again, C's only 3 minutes and 30 seconds. H2C 14 minutes, H3 10 minutes, ODST 10 minutes, H4 13, H5 13 with seconds there, and then reach 21 minutes. And the two guys that run it right now are experts at running this game. They've been running it for a very long time, and I strongly suggest you catch Pedro Gus, I think that's how you say his name, I'm just going to say Pedro, and Wolfie, because Pedro and Wolfie just absolutely dominate this game as speedrunners. And so it's not like they're bad speedrunners. They're extremely good, and they've been doing it for a very long time. So here, essentially just jetpacking and skipping through. This is a great example of how this game trolls you like no other. These enemies, who I had to throw 2 rockets at the feet of a freaking brute captain, not a chieftain, not a freaking elite ultra from Halo 2, no, just a stupid brute captain. 2 rockets to kill him. And why do I have to shoot that rocket there? Because the enemies are programmed to follow your aura. They don't see you. They've got ODSTs attacking. Any other game, they'd focus on the ODSTs, and you could use the strategy of flanking them if you so chose. Not in Reach. There is no reason at all to take away flanking and stealth in that type of situation unless you want your game to be about standing at medium to long range and shooting the frickin' DMR. There's no reason to nerf the rocket launcher in a way that it's never been nerfed before, unless you want someone to do something else besides use that weapon. There's no other reason to nerf it like that. That is a purposeful decision that was made. I don't care if it came after extensive playtesting or if it came as part of a meeting where some idiot asshat was sitting there and thinking, this game, I want this to be more like Call of Duty, where you just shoot a... This becomes a real crap part because I'm having to play it too safe. Exodus was my troll level. It was my kryptonite. It was the level wherein I had 4 or 5 times on Deathless runs reached this level, and at some point during it lost the Deathless run. I never got past Exodus until this run that you're watching now. Part of it, I think, is because I played it too safe. But when practicing, I could put together 18 to 22 minute Exoduses for a Deathless run and do pretty well. But you get me in a run, this game will find a way to troll it. This game will find a way to win. Once I was here and had a brute come from the right side, which they never do, come from the right side all the way down and berserk, and just sit there and shoot me dead. I had never seen a brute do that before. But that's not even close to the worst troll. That's not even close to it. I've had some of the most ridiculous dumb deaths before this, and I'll talk about some of the ones I had afterward. And the one I almost suffered in this very run, well, that one will be patently obvious. But if I'm talking negatively about your favorite Halo, do not let I think I said this before, do not let what I'm saying change your opinion. You keep your opinion, and I'm not here to change your opinion. I still love this game. You can't hate something without loving it first. And it's this kind of garbage. It's these stupid asshat Marines who, and again, I'm not really upset at Marines in general, or even all the Marines in this video game. The Space Marines, I'm upset because at this part, I can't go play the game I bought. They get to play it. Because if I stand down there while that dude is shooting those fuel rods, I'm gonna die. If I try to get silly, it's odds are a stupid civilian's going to run up in my way. I'm going to shoot them, and then he's going to bomb them, and then they're going to credit the kill to me, which what happens then? You spontaneously combust. I mean, I didn't even talk about that. Why the hell did you put civilians in this game who stand literally in the midst of combat, literally are standing where I'm supposed to be shooting, and then make it to where if I accidentally kill them, or purposefully or whatever, I just spontaneously combust. I don't get Marines turned on me. I don't end up, I don't know, they're not invincible like children are in like a game like Fallout. They don't, when they're rescued or when you come into an area, go run off and despawn somewhere like all the cool weapons do. No, they just stand around. What troll piece of crap developer programmed them to not only stay around and run around like idiots right in the line of fire, but then made it to where if I accidentally kill them, I just die. Just spontaneously combust for no reason. There's a reason why that crap wasn't in Halo before, and there's a reason why it ain't been in it since. In this M-rated game, in the teen-rated, and I'm not the biggest fan of Halo 5, but in the teen-rated Halo 5, if you kill, you can wipe out everybody at Meridian Station during the level's blast or evacuation. All those people, and there's literally not one consequence you suffer. Here's me having to go back for DMR because, you know, I don't know. Normally, if I was, you know, playing normally, I would just jump up and hammer him from above while he was shooting at the Marines. But the game doesn't let you do that. Again, you can't flank safely. He might do nothing. He might immediately shoot up or not even look at you and have a fuel rod shoot out the side of his stupid freaking fuel rod gun. I've seen it. It will happen. It didn't happen during my attempts to run this, but it will happen. What I should have done, I should have came in immediately and overcharged him and then jetpacked and rocketed him. But I don't want to, but well, anyway. But part of the reason why I couldn't do that is I couldn't find him. I love that death. I love that shot there in death. Right at me. That's your reward for getting a kill. Is he shoots it right at you. But, you know, I thank God I was on my toes. So I normally clear this part in about 10 to 11 minutes. So I was, you know, very unhappy that this went as long as it did, even though I was happy that I was proceeding forth through this, you know, would have been my kryptonite for making these runs. And I can tell you right now, I could do a hell of a lot better playing this game. I had my 2-death run, 5-death run I did the other night, because I'm crazy enough to keep trying to do this stupid crap. Just do it better. My 5-death run was much better performance than this. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was a much better performance. And I only took I think a death or two that I really either learned something from or was, you know, my own fault. Tilty. But the first 2 deaths I took in that game were ridiculously RNG garbage. One in Long Night of Solace and one in Exodus, as usual.
Delta 1-5, this is evac dispatch. Copy that. Proceed at your discretion.
This is your ride, Spartan.
Midtown airspace is
So this on-rails section, for some reason, these piece of crap developers not only tie you to this Falcon, which you have no control over, but they also have Banshees flying around at you who can shoot you, literally fuel rod your Falcon before you even have a chance to fire on it or see it. Never mind the fact that you have to lead these idiots because they couldn't make a gun hit scan in this game, this gun. So you have to lead the Banshees, and that's a crapshoot. I've watched world-class speedrunners have trouble doing it, so I'm not ashamed of when I can't do it. But you don't even have to see it for it to kill you. You can ask my chat. I lost a run at this part right now. Well, not right now. You'll see it in a little bit. I'll show you. That dude would rather run into that cliff face than have me shoot him. It was like right here. Before they even showed up, I got shot and lost a run. A deathless run up to that point. I believe someone in my chat put it very well. This game is literally trash.
Negative, Echo 2. I can't cover you. Do not take off.
Fox Actual. Should we send search and rescue birds?
Negative, dispatch. No point. Martin, Sergeant Major Duval. Awful day so far. Let's keep it from getting any worse, huh? Cubbies all over my missile batteries. And I
But yeah,
got
they tie you
5,000
to this on-rails BS, and they didn't develop any sort of safety measures at all of, say, I don't know,
Central Terminal. Understood?
you know, you haven't even seen a Banshee yet, and it just Banshee bombs you and just kills you. Ends the run. I don't know, and I guess, I mean, you know, again, some of the stuff like that would have required effort and work. So a part of me doesn't want to criticize it too hard because, hey, quote-unquote, right, that's what checkpoints are for. It's the stuff they coded in. The stuff they purposefully did. Purposefully coding the enemies to follow you around even though they don't see you. Purposefully coding these Wraith mortars to hit you at pinpoint accuracy when you're in their range, of course. Regardless of whether they actually see you or not. By far, before I ever tried this challenge, one of my least favorite things about this game. Now, you saw it in Halo 3. Some of the stuff I grabbed about started in Halo 3, so I'm not saying it's all started with Reach, but Reach could have fixed whatever it is. I don't blame a previous game for a current game's or later game's faults. You had 3 years, you could have fixed it. It's almost worse, it's almost more inexcusable when it appears in a later game.
Civilian transport 7 Echo 3 to Fox Actual. My engines are hot, waiting for your go.
Copy that, 7 Echo 3. We're working on it.
Can't believe you just did that.
Silence that rate! Where's that rate? Race down!
So I tried to use the jetpacking, shoot the grunt approach, and then, you know, overcharging and taking a Wraith much faster. But, you know, I think I could have learned to execute it better, but then I, you know, did learn to execute it a lot better. Got really successful with it, and then the other day I did it, and this piece of crap chieftain up here, while I was moving and floating in midair and all that stuff, just happened to, while I was under the bridge, somehow get a plasma launcher stick on my body. I watched it in theater mode. He pretty much shot it through the bridge. Not the bottom of the bridge, but through the... He was hanging over in a way that the plasma launcher couldn't have seen me. And those plasma launcher rounds don't track for them, by the way. They don't track for the enemy. That would be awful if it tracked for them. It tracks for you, but of course on legendary difficulty they dodge it really easily. The only enemy that I know of that doesn't is the hunters, and then of course some of the vehicles like the Wraith. But it was the big... I'd never died like that before. I'd never died from that plasma launcher hitting me while I was down there, so... You know, I've been, you know, shot in the grass and hurt by it or killed by the explosive blast, but never have I been stuck by one of them. And this is just bad driving.
Call them out, I'll gun them down!
So yeah, I mean, I should be done with Exodus at this juncture, but again, just did not take the time, even though I've realized now that it probably isn't possible to make the, you know, taking the Wraith with the plasma pistol and, you know, headshotting the grunt off the turret. I don't think that can be made safe. Again, it's the same point I was making earlier about, you know, the difference between easy and legendary in these games. The aimbot BS you see in this game is just so ridiculous. And the fact they can shoot out the side of their weapons or outside their vehicles, as with the Seraphs and the Wraiths, it's just garbage. It makes it almost impossible to rely on skill and movement and feel like you've got a guaranteed shot at going deathless, or at least getting damn near close to it.
Missile battery, Lieutenant. Get it armed. First battery is online. Other ones to your north.
Sergeant Major, Covenant are banging on my bay door. I got families and wounded on board. I gotta get airborne.
Easy, 7 Echo 3. Spartan's gonna clear the skies. Give me a ride here.
And so to put together this run last week, I had to be safe. I had to get good RNG. And the only other way to put together a faster, better run is A, to practice speedrunning for like a year, or several months at least, and B, just wait for that right time, like speedrunners who hit world record times do. You just wait for that time where everything falls into place. Except for if I was to do it, I have to wait for 2.5 hours to 3 hours. That would have to be for that amount of time that everything falls into place. Not an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, the way the the record works. So, given the time for the record. So here's what Exodus should have been about a 27-minute mission. Yeah, longer than what I'm accustomed to, but we could have finished it right here, right now, and been done with it. I've done this many times. It works really, really well and really, really consistently. Especially when no one sees you there, coming up that way. And look at this troll garbage. He's just standing right there by the button. He hasn't seen me. No one saw me. I looked up there. I was looking up there the whole time. He didn't see me, but he knew where I was at. How did he know where I was at? That is a programming choice. You program the enemies to know where the player's at all times, regardless of whether or not you're actually in some sort of line of sight with them. That's a programming choice. Why would somebody do that with Halo? Halo is not that kind of game. That is not that kind of game. There is no reason to do that unless you're trying to make a game unfair. To account for the fact that whatever, you could make it difficult enough. If it was fair, I don't know. I don't know what. Again, I don't know why in the world someone would do that. I don't know why a human being would take a game that worked a certain way and then make it different for the worse. So you can go back to your friends and say, "Ooh, I made a Halo game and it's hard. It's harder than you've ever played before." It's still not the hardest campaign. The hardest campaigns are still Halo 2 and Halo Combat Evolved. That's the sad fact of it. It's still not the hardest one. But you try to go deathless in a single segment, I would argue this is the hardest one except for Halo 2. And if it's not the hardest, it's the most trying. It's the most trying. And the more you try to add in terms of speeding it up, speed running strats, less safe, more speed, the worse it gets by like exponential values. So what you're seeing here is me literally driving around, hoping my rocket guy can pick off a brood or two, hoping that some solution will appear to me, because I really would use the jetpack for this part casually. And the part over there where I hit the button, I don't know if I can go back over there or not. I probably should have tried to go back over there a couple of times. But, you know, this has been the level that has trolled me time and time and time again, and it has now proceeded to continue to do it. Just not lethally, at least not yet. So, you know, I chickened out. So let's see if that jetpack's hanging around over there. I wonder if it's still there. This brute chieftain's body is still here, where nobody can see it. It could have easily despawned, taken load off the engine. Well, of course it's not here. Of course not. That's something else Reach introduced. The Halo 3 and 2 and ODST and C didn't have. Is disappearing shit. Whenever you've already picked it up. Things you pick up or drop stay there forever unless there's some major level deload. But Reach had to add that crap. They couldn't just spawn all this garbage that's hanging around, all this stupid phantom stuff and crap. No, they couldn't just spawn all that, but they had to spawn the armor ability. So now I'm thinking to myself, I guess I'll just do what they want. I'll DMR everything from range and snipe the chieftains. There's literally nowhere else I could have shot him but his face. Chieftains go down in 2 shots, just like elites used to if you do a body shot, headshot in Combat Evolved. These chieftains, they have pretty weak shields. They're just like elite miners, except you can't just headshot them and be done with it. So I shot the dude once, I missed, and I shot him twice. Shot him the second time in the face, because there's literally nothing else on his body that I could see. And yet he still survives up there. Thank God that dude berserked. Now the Hammer Chieftain, who's not a warrior concerned, he died. Thank goodness. This stupid chieftain, if that chieftain would show his face, if I could have shot him then, I would have went over to the button. I'd have just YOLO'd it and said forget it. Because I think I can make it over there. But as long as that dude's there, I'm not going to sit there and let a run in, because this game wants to troll me. For no reason. And why that piece of crap can shoot that abomination of a weapon from all the way over there at me, but yeah, my chain gun guy and my rocket guy can't shoot at him. I don't even know how to explain that garbage. I don't even know how to explain that. I don't know how to explain. I have no words for that. That are good. That are positive. That are... It's just, you suck. Whoever developed this game, you suck. That's the only thing I got. You're a pile of crap. I can understand them firing needle rifles or carbines if they had that in this game. You know, kind of a mid to long range weapon. Focus rifle, I get. But the concussion rifle. But yeah, my guy can't fire his power weapon. Yeah. Middle fingers up. You piles of trash. So this is what I normally do casually, is come up here. It's very dangerous, but if you know what you're doing, you can make it work. Normally I would have, you know, again, if I had the jetpack, we'd have already finished this, because I would have been using the tops of these places and area. Yeah, his head went into the geometry where I can't shoot. Yeah, that's what happened, but I got him. But yeah, I come up here, and usually the chieftain will come out and try to shoot at you from here. Which is really nice. That's what you want him to do. But we didn't give him a chance to take a shot. Look at this guy. He's in cover. I throw a grenade. Oh, somehow he magically knows and moves out of the way. But I guess at least we got him to move, right? And who's this coward piece of shit? Die, troll. I mean, can you guys do anything except for stand around and do nothing up there until I come up? So that's Exodus. The worst performance of this whole thing. Even though I don't blame myself for what happened. I mean, there's a couple things I could have done differently, but, you know, when you've been trolled by the same level over and over again with garbage like that happening, although I never saw that actually happen, you tend to be a little more careful. when I started this run, I think I mentioned at the beginning that one of the reasons why I came back after just totally being done with this challenge was what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what it was like. I wanted to know what it felt like to get to New Alexandria. I wanted to know what it was like to be past that troll garbage you just witnessed, that part of me saved and another part of me just flat out had to improvise in a very, very safe, risk-averse fashion.
Put your wings back on, Lieutenant.
And you know, it didn't feel anything like I thought it would feel. I thought I'd feel a sense of relief. Because to be honest with you, I didn't think that this would be the run. But looking at it now, I felt pretty confident with the last 3 levels of this game. Particularly the last level. Which is one that I skip a couple of battles here and there to shave off about 10 minutes of what I would normally do casually on Legendary in a kill everything run, which is my preferred way to play. But that level, to me, is one of those that it's really hard until you figure it out. And once you figure it out, you realize that Pillar of Autumn is actually one of the most well-built levels in Halo history. It really is. They do a great job with that level. That level really seemed to be one that the developers took a lot more time and care and concern with. I do have some qualms about the ending, not necessarily because it's difficult. I'll get to that, I guess, probably an hour and a half later. But it really is a level I feel like was built with the player in mind. New Alexandria is one of the most replayable levels, especially your first 5 or 10 playthroughs in Halo history, because of how random it is. But for a challenge like this, that randomness can really be a noose. And I know for speedrunners, they've talked about it time and time again. The run can live or die with what you get in New Alexandria in terms of if you're going for a world class or a PB. The side missions you get, sometimes in some cases even the ordering of the 3 main missions really makes a difference with the run. So as you would imagine, the ILs for New Alexandria are usually going to be a lot better than a full game speed run that's at world class level. There's no guarantee it'll even come close. You cannot revert your way out of the RNG you get in this level. I believe it's set from the beginning, or it's set at the time in which that checkpoint is that you reach, where you find out what that mission is. You cannot revert or restart your way out of it, as far as I know, during a full game. Of course, I couldn't do anything remotely like that for any reason because of the rules that I applied for this run. So if you guys have stuck around and watched this for this long, please tell me, what are you dressing up as for Halloween? And what did you do for Halloween? Did you have fun? Did you go out and party with friends? Did you spend time with your family? Let me know in the comments section.
Stay back, you stinking bastards!
So from here on out, I would say that, you know, given that I never really practiced anything much faster, and didn't really want to for the last 3 levels, what you'll see is kind of what, you know, I'd say things are pretty solid for the most part. Pretty safe in the last 2 levels. The only problem is New Alexandria. It's the side missions I got. I got the worst 2 side missions you can get if you're going for speed or for safety. And you could probably guess what those are, unless you don't play this game routinely. But I'll let you see. I'll keep the suspense. But yeah, I got the hardest, longest 2 to do. I'll say much. I wasn't shooting jackal snipers, that's for sure. I didn't get anywhere. I was shooting jackal snipers, or yeah, focus rifle jackals, whatever you want to call them. Marksmen with focus rifles, perhaps. I literally saw 3 needles enter his body, but you know, well, what does it matter? What does it matter anymore? That worked then, thank goodness. Now, if I wanted to speed this up more, I should have picked up that shotgun. I do want it for later, but again, speed wasn't on my mind. What was on my mind is, you know, oh, now we've got to run. Now I'm past the furthest point reached. Now we've got to run. Let me just get this thing done. Instinct, and my instinct is not to move fast. My instinct is to move carefully and to engage in combat, which I feel I'm safer when I do combat than I am when I speedrun. So I make 100% sure that no enemies are still alive before I get this shotgun. And the reason why I did that is because for some ridiculous reason, Marine never ran up. I guess they're dead? I don't know. Because usually Marines will run up whenever you're done, but I guess the brutes killed them really fast this time. Faster than normal. It's almost weird. It's almost like they kind of play fight over here half the time. And I should have got that extra shotgun ammo just for the heck of it, but you don't usually need it.
Showing the hospital jammer offline. Nice work. Soon as you can,
so, quick quiz. Are there 6 guys here or 7 guys here? Let's count how many I kill. That's 1. I screw 1 up in a little bit. I throw a grenade at a guy who's going to jump away. This is the worst part of the mission by far. And the reason why is because these guys are scripted automatically to jump away to cover automatically whenever you de-shield them. Which essentially makes it to where you just have to... I mean, that guy went down, thank goodness. I think because we had shot him at the right time. But yeah, they're pretty much scripted to jump away as soon as you de-shield them. Which makes fighting them just a blast. Just an absolute blast. It's just so fun to fight these stupid jackrabbits. But, you know, if you stand here, you can kind of glitch or exploit the fact that they generally shoot for center mass. Now, they will get up close to you and try to punch you, and they can land that punch, which is why I brought the shotgun. I thought there were 6 guys here, but I'm pretty sure there's 7. You tell me in the comment section how many you counted. And that's the 3rd time, I believe, in this game that the concussion rifle eats a plasma overcharge. Because that's fair. That's normal.
sir. You can head back to your bird.
Now, the reason why I'm taking time to kill these Banshees is A, I'm not speedrunning this, and B, if you don't kill them, they keep spawning around the map until about 8 to 10 of them, yeah, that's right, 8 to 10 of them will eventually, because, you know, they know where you're at all times, which is fine, I'm flying around, I don't care. But they will form a squadron, and that swarm is no good to deal with on a Deathless run, especially on a full game run. So I am trying to, and I know they keep spawning, but if you don't kill them, you see that a lot more often. Whereas if you kill them, their spawning kind of is meted out a little bit more fairly. Now, the first mission I get is a jammer mission. The crap thing about jammer missions is that you have to get out of your Falcon, which means I've got to slow down and stop. Now, I can't deal with 8 Banshees and turrets and things like that if I've got to get out of my Falcon. Now, why you have to get out of your Falcon for the jammer is beyond me. I mean, you can blow up turrets, you can take down phantoms with this gun, but not a jammer. You have to get out and touch it. You can't just, you know, shoot it to death. You can take down an AA gun with a turret, but not a jammer. They're bulletproof. And of course, the guys down here, what do they have? Concussion rifles and needle rifles. Those two abominations. Now, the problem with the needle rifle, as I've said before, is that the needles literally glance off your armor, yet they take off little bits of chunks of tiny little bits of your shields. Now, that wouldn't be as big of a deal, except for the fact that I'm looking for a turret there because I'm paranoid. There's never a turret there, I'm pretty sure. But the reason why that's a problem is that they stop your shields from recharging. So if you're being swarmed by Banshees, or if they actually connect with that abomination of a weapon called a concussion rifle, then, you know, you can be in serious trouble. And without the ability to have your shields recharge in between, you know, killing Banshee swarms, it's becomes a big problem pretty fast. I mean, if there's one thing Halo 5 got right, it's that you're no longer somehow melded with the vehicle. So now suddenly your vehicle that is literally armored well enough to have the needles bounce off of it, glance off of it, doesn't damage you. The vehicle takes the damage, if it takes any at all, which it takes very, very little from needles, whether from the needler or the needle rifle, because they spam the crap out of that gun. Oh, they have fuel rods too, sorry. Maybe they don't have concussion rifle, I don't really know. It really doesn't matter. Either way, you don't want to get shot by it. I understand the fuel rod. I'm still not sold on the concussion rifles being an anti-vehicle. Yeah, they have one of those too, yeah. So notice how I've lost my shields, and it's not because the needle rifle is that powerful per se. It's because it can be spammed and it prevents your shields from recharging. And notice again, I'm having to fend off the Banshees because I can't let the Banshees get on me while I'm taking, you know, spam from down below.
We're clear.
And this isn't one of those situations where I'm saying aimbot, aimbot, aimbot. I mean, I'm a big target. I understand why they're shooting at me. I understand. I get that. But again, a lot longer than it takes to kill a bunch of focus rifle jackals. And for some ridiculous reason, I've got to get out and touch this thing instead of just shoot it dead. So I might as well collect needle rifle, although I certainly don't need this much. Because we're going to use the Easter egg glitch for the hunter section. It's just quicker.
4 Charlie 27 to command. Request immediate assistance.
Go ahead, 2-7.
We're at the Byron Telecom Tower. Got hunters between us
And
the
safer.
jammer.
It would be quicker just to run through the hunters, but that's not safe
Silver 6, I'm sending you coordinates for the
for a
Byron
Deathless
Tower.
run, because
Go get
again,
those troopers
the
on
hunters
site.
can be focused on the Marines all day long. As soon as you get close to them, or even if they haven't seen you, even if you try to run behind them, they will turn around. They will turn around. I'm not sure if the hunters are telepathically communicating with each other. Maybe that's an ability that I didn't know that they had. I don't know. But again, just still safely taking out Banshees. Making sure they don't collect into a squadron. Because you never know. The next side mission could be, I don't know, a buck mission. And not the one where, well, yeah, anyway. I did kind of mess that up, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So now we do have a little bit of a squadron following us. Looks like we got maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I mean, I just, again, you know, this reminds me in a way, just in a very specific way, of the Regret boss fight, where the elites and the grunts just continually spawn. Although the elites don't continually spawn like you think they do, that's a whole nother story. My attempt to figure that level out, which worked, actually, by the way, worked pretty well. Got the pretty safe strats for that level and that ending boss fight. But anyway, yeah, you know, in my opinion, maybe they could spawn 8 or 10 of them per mission. Because the problem with them spawning the way they do is that not only are they endless, which is a cheap way to do things, that's an old game strategy from back when I was growing up. Essentially telling you, hey, you need to move forward, or, you know, you're not going to be able to sit and fight all this, you need to go somewhere else. Which I guess is what the mechanic is doing here, I don't know. I used to like Halos for the exploration, but it really doesn't allow you to do that whenever they can spawn anywhere at any time on the margins of the map. And so, like, right now, technically, we're on the margins of the map. They could spawn 2 or 3 of them right behind me if they wanted to. They being, I guess, I don't know, the game engine, whatever. So since I know I've got a squadron following me, I'm going to try to get down here pretty fast. Fortunately, it's not risky. I don't even think these guys get off a shot. So why a catchy house version of Siege of the Madrigal plays, we're just gonna come in here and smack these dudes. I aim at the wrong brute. That's the dude with the spiker. I should have got this guy first while he was still in his bartending mode. Now this guy over here, as far as I know, he never comes out from behind the bar. He just does this. Like, he goes from being a bartender to someone with a neurological disorder. I should have went and grabbed Sprint. Oh, I did go and grab Sprint now. That way I can stop walking around like this. I like the hologram for that one troll concussion rifle elite. Don't really need it anymore.
Jammer offline. Well done, Nova 6. Head back to your Falcon.
Banshee inbound.
So, you know, I did fear that a squadron was too close for comfort, but I only had 4 here, which isn't terrible. But again, I've seen them spawn right outside of the map, right over here, to, you know, round out a smaller group. And so I focused on combat here, and I didn't focus on what was said here.
Copy, gunnery sergeant. Go ahead.
See, you can find this Phantom really easily and destroy it. And I didn't pay attention to that. Or maybe I did and I was looking for it and couldn't find it and didn't orient myself properly. It's a little bit closer to the Synoviet Center. But again, I didn't pay attention enough. Didn't really have that strat down pat. And so instead I go and follow Buck instead of taking out that Phantom, which took longer than it should have. Or made this level take longer than it should have. Yeah, at this point I don't remember for sure if I was looking for the Phantom or if I was looking for more Banshees, and just again did not listen to the mission, that this was not a pure escort mission. I could take out the Phantom and end it. So if I remember right, you have to hit certain points where you and Buck are close by or both there before he will move on. Which is fine, I understand that, I guess. Kind of forces you to meet the mission requirements, to fly a relatively tight formation with him. And I have not memorized where those spots are or anything like that. Like I say, I'm mostly a casual player. I just take the game, take what it gives me, and didn't as a speedrunner would. I haven't spent a lot of time memorizing that path, or again remembering to listen to see if it was the Phantom one where you can. It's not that Phantom, but where you can just destroy the Phantom. I don't believe it's that Phantom. At least I might be wrong about that. I believe the Phantom coming out of Synoviet is like low and to the right of Synoviet, like if you're facing this way, the way I'm facing now. I don't think it's there anymore, and again, it may very well be that Phantom right there. But instead, I spend time taking out the Banshees. Now, you have to kind of follow Buck both at a similar height, or altitude rather, and on a similar path. And once you hit those spots, then you either A, get close to, once he's on the final path towards the destination, you either A, once he gets on that path, you can go over to, wherever you wanted and do whatever you want to do, or, in this case, you could, start taking out the Phantom. So again, I guess that was the right Phantom. I'm not really sure. I don't know if, I know you see Phantoms that do nothing, and then you see some Phantoms that are involved in a side mission, or later on in setting up the turrets for the final battle. So once that Phantom's gone, it's pretty much over. That side mission.
Area secure. I owe you one, Spartan. I'll see you in...
I don't know, maybe it was worth it just to hear him say that again. I mean, Buck doesn't have but just 2 or 3 lines, but or 4, maybe 4, I don't know, 1 for each, but I always like that. So I know where the last mission is, of course, so I head right on over here.
What's your status, 1-9er?
We found the jammer, but we're getting hit. Request immediate assistance.
It's amazing that you can feel as frustrated and salty watching something like this, and knowing the outcome, knowing that you did accomplish this goal, no matter how slow. But it's still, to this moment, again, someone decided that they would spawn in the enemies before they spawned in the ability to open the door. So I nearly died just then. That was a luck save there. I could have easily perished with his aimbot concussion rifle blasts. I mean, he doesn't shoot the big giant falcon. No, he shoots the dude who, just came out from cover, who he didn't even see when he was walking up.
You're close to the jammer. Destroy it. It's a trap. Get the hell out of there. Thermal looks clear for now, 6. Return to your Falcon and stand by for instructions.
So very long-running New Alexandria, even for my non-speedrunning skills. And here's another reason why it was long running. I did not go in the right direction here. I was instead thinking about dodging the Banshees, and then got oriented the wrong direction, trying to get behind this building because I saw a lot of red. My minimap had measles. And then I realized I probably should be heading to the left, and probably could have taken out a Phantom before it dropped off. At least one turret, maybe two. But again, probably playing it too safe. You can come right out and start gunning that Phantom. But I take the wide and long way around and miss that opportunity entirely.
Command, this is Whiskey 3-5.
But it's okay. Just, you know, probably shave off a minute doing something like that, which would have been good.
Take out those heavy shapes.
Now, I wouldn't say that the Banshees here are completely shut off in any way, shape, or form, but they are slightly less aggressive. It almost reminds me of the way the Seraphs and Banshees behave in Long Night of Solace whenever the Phantoms show up during that third wave. Like, they're just slightly less aggressive. Like, right now you see two red dots behind me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to blow me away the same way they would if we were just in normal play through New Alexandria. But once you kill the final turret, the AI shuts off. The only thing that can, I believe, can shoot at you at this point is a grunt on a turret. Go figure, a grunt on a turret. The ultimate troll of Reach and Halo 3, and in some cases Halo 2 and Halo 4. Go figure, that's the only one that you have to worry about. So now we're on to the package. Now, I was happy to get past New Alexandria. But I really felt confident that if I played the package and POA for the most part safely, a couple of skips in POA, but nothing major, I kind of planned for this to be about an hour of the run. I wanted to try to get the run under to about 3 hours, but that didn't happen here, obviously. But, I kind of planned for this to be the lion's share of at least the last half of the run. Again, hoping to get Exodus in about 20 minutes, New Alexandria in about, depending a lot on the RNG, but, with good RNG, about somewhere around 18 minutes. That didn't happen. But these levels play generally normally. There's a couple of skips that I wanted to try to incorporate in the package, but never really got around to, and ultimately made the decision, at least at the time, that I was not going to spend, 3 months on this run, much less a year or longer. And so instead of trying to find a safe route in the package, which was really hard to do on Legendary difficulty without taking some pretty big risks, again, for a Deathless run, I decided to play it pretty casually. I don't know if there's a part in the package where I did used to try to run past the courtyard battle with the ghost, but part of it again was me not really learning how to drive that without the aimbots killing me, or just again deciding that if I'm 7 levels into a run past Exodus, past Long Night of Solace, am I really going to risk the aimbots killing me? I practiced it for a while, and I was doing it at first, but all it took was dying a couple of times on 2 or 3 death runs, or in practices, just to go, you know what, it's not worth it. It saves 3 minutes. And as far as the spiral room, running up and trying to jump past all that, I mean, maybe someone with more practice and more skill than I.
Structure's clear, Lieutenant. That was right.
I never even tried that. And the statue jump, forget about it. That's not even remotely consistent. Again, going back to what I talked about during Exodus, the strats for speedrunning in Halo Reach are wildly different for ILs or for easy runs, because on Legendary, they make them aimbots. They turn them into aimbots. Speed is not a factor in how it doesn't affect the accuracy of the enemy, which it should. It does that in real life with real organic things. Now, I know these are aliens, but they're not robots. I might call them robots because that's how they behave on Legendary, but they're not. They're organic beings. If there's anywhere in the lore or in video games where we have a shot against these bastards, it's on the ground.
Looks like we got a Scorpion still operational, sir. I'll handle it. Guns ready to go loud.
Area secure. Turret gotta go.
Ready to hit that anti-air whenever you are, Lieutenant.
Clear. Go. That go. Don't let up. All clear.
Get a move on, Noble 6. Our Falcons are standing by.
AA guns dead ahead, Lieutenant.
Time to go to work, Noble 6. Take out those guns. First target neutralized. Falcon.
Now, one thing that I did wish that I had done, because it's not hard to learn to do, is learned how, or I guess was be willing to, not really even learn, just be willing to fly through this area instead of shooting every single Banshee. Until I shoot the second AA gun, then I fly past. But like letting these guys spawn in, there's no reason to let them do that. I used to be a lot better at shooting the Banshees, but I hit a bit of a snag with my accuracy in a little bit.
Under fire. Get off my load.
Said snag is now, where again, not really doing the greatest job of shooting these guys. Not really sure why some misses occurred, though.
That Banshee ain't so friendly.
Again, could easily go over the top of this part and get past all this. I mean, you do kind of have to worry about a Banshee bomb. It can kill you if it hits you in the right part of the tank, because it's, you know, again, you're for some reason not covered up in this armored behemoth. Oh well. So much for casual fun and play, I guess. It'll just dodge every single time, or it won't be led properly for God knows what reason. Yeah, dude, just keep running from my reticle. Until at some point the programming says don't. I don't know. That went right through his character model. It literally went right through him. Red reticle, right on him. Somehow, some way it misses. Who knows why? Who knows? Why they decided to make the... I can talk about this tank for the next 30 minutes. Why the hell they decided that it would be funner or more enjoyable to play with a tank that's slower, that for some reason they went backwards to the point where the direction of your turret affects the direction of your treads, which is not how a tank works, or should ever work, and didn't really work like that in Halo 2, and for the most part didn't work like that in Halo 3. Why they made it lighter, so, you know, it gets caught on every single piece of geometry or wreckage. I mean, do they understand that a tank has treads and not wheels for a reason? The treads are grippy, they're grabby. They go over things easily, and of course, if the tank was heavy enough, it wouldn't be a problem. But they never quite figured that out. They never quite figured out how to make this tank work, even though they seem to be able to do that with the last 2 installments. And I normally nail this shot. I came up with this shot. I didn't see someone do that. I came up with that. I used to get out and focus rifle those guys, which is what I saw someone else do, and then I realized that if you get on just the right part there, which I usually know exactly where that is pretty fast, you can take that out. But I don't know. I didn't do it that time. And I'm being really careful here. I love how it can shoot through that geometry, but I can't shoot through it. That's awesome. Great touch. I mean, I can understand it being able to see me faster. I get that. But to be able to shoot through all that stuff, bang up job. Bang up job.
Kill them all, Noble!
Can my teammates get 1 kill? Just 1 kill? There we go. Good job. Nice work. I can't believe you're my equals, but nice work. I like to use the needler in the spiral room because it will shoot through the grates. If you've not seen that before, you'll see it in a little bit.
I have to go through maintenance. Elevator's out.
Now, it's nice to get in position to shoot these guys before your guys show up and start armor locking and throwing grenades and doing other stupid crap that doesn't help, or bumping you around or whatever. And fortunately, we were able to kill those dudes before they did that. 2 skirmishers usually run down that way there.
Grenade out! We have contact. I've got this. Keep holding it on, Martin. Weapons free.
Sometimes it will hit some of the bars there, the supports that are holding up that walkway. So that's why you see some of those misses there, or them, you know, kind of bouncing off. All depends on where the enemy's at, really, or where you're at. I guess where you're positioned at relative to the enemy. But it works. It's worth bringing a full needler in for. I definitely would say that.
You stand on chest. Gotcha.
It's a little bit harder to get them up there, though. They'll usually run away, or it'll hit, you know, supports or something like that. But this guy, we're able to get. It looks like we killed him with just an excess of needles there, though. I didn't see the little super combine metal come up. And I'm looking for the focus rifle jackal, but I believe June's either already shot him or will shoot him, which is nice. I think I said this before, the only effective Spartans most of the time are June with the sniper rifle, or when Carter or Kat has a headshot weapon. Yeah, I think that was it right there. Where it said checkpoint, I think that's where June landed the killing blow. The death blow. That was random, sorry. Now, I would like to pick up that plasma rifle, but if I drop one of these weapons, it will disappear until this, you know, part gets kind of set up. So, and I really want both of them, a lot. Focus rifle for this section, and the needle rifle for later on. So now I can drop it safely. I'm pretty sure. I haven't lost one after getting this battle started. Yeah, another one of Reach's innovations. Quote unquote, the disappearing weapon, as I talked about. And we'll talk about again at one point when it affects me negatively. So when you kill 4 of these 6 Inviso elites, they will fall back and you get a chance to take out this dude here, which is pretty easy to do with the focus rifle. And because of the weakness of the shields and or armor of the Spec Ops guys, you can take them out with the focus rifle fairly easily, I would say. Just gotta know where they're at, man. I think it's the one time that I could think of off the top of my head where I use focus rifle strats. Grab this developer placed. Will not disappear, I believe. Plasma pistol. Move.
Keep moving.
This is it. In here.
So one thing I did have to master, or at least try to master, was doing sprint cycles and jumps properly here. I don't take the straightest or best path, but I didn't want to get caught on the rocks. And the reason why you have to do that is because it allows you a chance to get a Banshee as fast, or at least generally as fast as possible. I don't know if I need the jetpack, except for that unless this fails, because I do not use the jetpack much anymore after this, I believe. So I'm still torn whether or not I should just stick with sprint and take my chances. And then if I fail here, then I can go and get a jetpack. But this works out perfectly, allowing me to get a Banshee as fast as possible. Now, I do wish also that I practiced this a lot more, because this, you do essentially play this casually. So you can't speed run this in the sense that you can't skip any of this. The only thing that comes close to that would be killing phantoms before they drop off enemies, but that's a casual strat. That's a normal thing to do. It'd also be helpful to set off the turrets, but I found myself dying or getting caught up doing that. And so, yes, a lot of practice on this level, running a lot of ILs, as you know, with a speed run mentality in mind, would have been beneficial to making this go a lot faster. Not saying that I could execute it as good as anybody if I had done that, but I definitely could have spent more time on it. Memorizing which phantoms are dropping off what, and finding the best approach to taking out things as fast as possible. I even saw a speed run here recently that I didn't know this was a strat where I think it's Pedro takes out the phantom that's behind me as soon as it shows up into the field of play. So he just starts immediately shooting it, and then gets out with the rocket launcher he picked up and destroys it, so thereby eliminating the copious amount of enemies that come from it. Now, I don't know if that's the fastest way to do it, but I thought that was pretty cool. I just do it the kind of old school way with less flair, just taking out things with the Banshee Bomb. But the one speed running strat that I don't do or would never do for a Deathless run, even for an individual level Deathless run, to be honest, is getting down and running things over with the Banshee. The reason why I wouldn't do that is not only does it expose you quite a bit to small arms fire, not only can you, in your haste, crash into the ground and damage the Banshee just by, jetting into it, but the brutes can armor lock, and if you're jetting at the same time as they're armor locking and you hit them, it can completely wreck your Banshee. So I was not going to do that. That's the one, I guess, thing. But from what I've seen, you don't necessarily have to do that to make. You don't have to do that to make this faster. Simply put, if you have an awareness of which phantoms are dropping off which enemies. There's another part too that you can also go faster on for a speed run or an individual level run that I'll talk about when we get to it. But yeah, speedrunner's gonna clear out more enemies before they get over to the Wraith, or at least just do that faster. And there's gonna be some movement things, of course, that they do well. But I don't want to get in the habit of trying to compare this to a speed run, because that wasn't my intent at all. And when you're running Deathless, you're naturally going to run it safer, even if in some cases mistakes or running it quote-unquote too safe, not practicing certain strats did make this go quite long. Looking to see if there's any grunts hanging out over there, but I did clear out enough enemies to where I think now we've just got the groups that came off the phantoms that are behind me and to my left have all pushed up. Well, for the most part. Lucky I didn't get overcharged there. Not that it would have made a big difference, but it would have certainly slowed me down a bit. So as soon as I take out those guys, if I'm fast enough, then you can just take these guys out as they're coming. Infuriatingly, you don't get like a big pile of enemies, even if they're all grouped up there. You probably could shoot an accurate enough mortar to kill more, but given the changes in elevation and my lack of practice at doing this, I think over the course of time, I'm not going to take them out as fast as I could. But some of this is just flat out infuriating, like this MLG Pro. Now, what I'm about to do next is something I saw. I'm not sure who did it first. It doesn't really matter. But I guess it matters a little bit, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But I saw this in a Wolfie run, this strat for this next wave. And I'm not saying I execute it perfectly, but I do execute it pretty well. It's not that hard to execute once you see someone do it and practice it a couple of times. So I think now we're on a timer. I don't think there's any other enemies left. We're just waiting for these phantoms to come down.
Hold on, Spartans. I'm getting close.
So one thing that I can't remember for sure or not if I get it here is sometimes you can magic your way into getting to a position where the phantom turret does not fire at you. Even as you're firing on the phantom itself, I want to say that maybe hiding behind that thing can help. Maybe, I don't really know, but here we obviously don't get that to work. And the problem with the concussion turret is that it's above you. If that concussion turret hits you, because you know you have to open that hatch given the unique scripting of these wraiths, you can't just hop in the turret and expect the driver to get out. If that concussion turret actually hits you inside that hatch, which that's what the concussion turret is aiming for, it can do severe damage to you, even if not to the wraith. This is part of that Wolfie, I'll call it a Wolfie strat, but I'm not sure if he came up with it or not. I just saw him do it, and I know he holds the, I think still holds the world record right now of the individual level run of the package on Legendary. So if you get right at that spot and put it right at that kind of parallel with that ice crystal thing there, that stalagmite or whatever, or stalactite, then I think it's 6 shots and they'll destroy that phantom from afar, which I believe reduces the amount of waves that come in. Otherwise, I don't know why speedrunners would take the time to do it. Now, a speedrunner would get a lot more aggressive here and start pointing, would you know, keep firing here, probably hit a few more shots than I am. Although this wave goes pretty well, if I remember right, in terms of accuracy and all that. But you're essentially dealing with elites and skirmishers. A lot of the elites are rangers, so they like to hop and jet around. You've got a couple of shield jackal majors that are pushing up over there to the kind of sort of to the left. But your biggest concern is usually an ultra throwing a grenade, or any of the elites, but especially I think maybe only the majors and or the ultras actually boarding your vehicle. I think the ultras just jump on top and punch at you, or maybe that's what the majors, I'm not really sure. But we cleared that out pretty fast. Again, more Wolfie goodness here. So if you park the Wraith about here, you're protected from concussion rifle blast later. If you put the reticle on top of that ice crystal and then shoot a mortar as soon as you see the phantom, you'll usually score a hit. And then you shoot another one that's a little straighter as it's landing, and you can get 2 hits on the phantom before it even has a chance to start shooting at you. The main thing you want to do here, if you're fortunate and skilled, is you want to take out the phantom as it's dropping off its infantry. If you do that, then the explosion of the phantom will destroy all the infantry, and you don't have to worry about them. Now, an aggressive approach, a speedrunning approach, would be to immediately go down to that left side and start shooting those enemies as they come up. The problem with that is that not only is it very difficult to do that and not have your Wraith get damaged a lot, but also since I didn't set off the turrets, it kind of makes it to where these enemies aren't going to be slowed by those turrets or weaker as a result of those turrets. Because right after you take care of these guys doing that strat I just said, notice the garbage throw there, almost literally through that barrier, then you would go and take out the hunters, who would be damaged significantly by the turrets and certainly distracted by them. I did not take the time to set off the turrets, nor did I want to do that, because I feel like that's just wasn't something I mastered doing, getting in and out of the Banshee like that. You really need to be careful doing that, because you don't need to have any enemies around when you do that. Otherwise, you risk losing the Banshee or dying. I am missing this hunter. It usually takes about 3 shots, which is stupid, but it takes about 3 shots to kill them with the mortar. But the elevation or something, I'm just not getting the shot on him, and he's not even really moving. It's kind of a my bad sort of deal. I think I'm just shooting right in front of him every time, and I'm not adjusting the mortar up. So I make a mistake here, and I know there's another hunter alive, and I know my the rest of the noble team is useless. I almost make a mistake and invest too much in trying to kill it. All it needs is 2 enemies left, even if it's the hunters, and this phantom will drop. The problem with having this phantom drop before you're in position, if you're going this safer route here, or should be safer, is that the phantom, again, same thing with the concussion turrets. If it hits you through that hatch, which I got fortunate there and it didn't, then you take severe damage. Also, the Wraith can fire on you before it hits its little scripted programming where it just stands in the same place and shoots in the same direction. So I got fortunate there that I backpedaled fast enough. So the general is programmed to come after you no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter how stealthy you think you've been. The biggest fear you have of the general, well, the 2 biggest fears, but the main fear is him throwing grenades if you have a weak Wraith, which again is why I didn't get aggressive before. Also, these other elites can throw grenades. I think there's an Ultra or 2 that can. And there's a ghost that should have came with the 3rd wave,
I'm opening the laboratory door.
I believe, or maybe it's this wave. I know one comes off of that phantom that I destroyed, but it's hiding. And we killed the general before it can make any trouble for us. But the ghost is unnaturally and strangely prolonging the inevitable here. It usually pushes up pretty fast and puts a lot of pressure on you. I guess it's kind of safer if it does this garbage, but anyway. So we take it out with very little fanfare. And if we don't get hit by a pinpoint mortar strike, pinpoint bullshit mortar strike, we should be good to go here. So now, at last, we are at the final level, and I gotta admit, by the time I got here, I was pretty cocky. I felt I had to be confident that I was gonna make it work with POA. All right, now we're on to POA. Don't mind saying it's been actually a full. Sorry for the reverb here. It's been a full week or so since I've provided any commentary for this upload here. I've really largely put it off because of, well, 2 reasons. A, I think it's pretty clear from anything that you've watched up to this point that I'm not as happy with this performance, and at the same time I very disappointed that my what had always been my second favorite campaign just doesn't hold up under questioning. That so many of the cracks and seams in this game's really rear their ugly head whenever you try a challenge like this. And you could say the same for every Halo campaign, that's for sure. But I think my disgust with this game is special. I guess anyone that runs any of these campaigns eventually develops a certain amount of disgust that comes from trying to play the game probably in no way, shape, or form in any way it was meant to ever be played. But, I've said that so many times, and I still think that that is an appropriate way to think of something like this. I still don't understand why in the world anyone would build a video game that they thought was going to be competitive with other shooters on the market, yet when you put your reticle over something's head and can't seem to get it to connect. Like, what message are you sending to the player when that's the case? But yeah, I said time and time again that that to play even a level Deathless on this difficulty, much less to try to play through the entire campaign Deathless, is not the way it's meant to be played. But why not? Why can't it be played that? Why can't that be the way it's meant to be played? Why can't you put gameplay together that reflects on some level that you think that could be a possibility for the player, and instead of doing everything in your power to try to prevent it through all manner of chicanery and garbage, Instead, you actually build a game that allows for that with the proper amount of skill and preparation. Instead, you get this pile of trash. And you know, I'm hard on this game because I did once love it. And I don't know if that love will ever come back for the gameplay. Or perhaps because of the gameplay. This isn't a bad POA. It's probably nothing I would say that if I spent any more time trying to improve this run, I don't know if there's anything more that I would do with POA, aside from, you know, spending months becoming the speedrunner that I am not. There's just something extra galling about the fact that if I get on that mongoose, this turd will come over and do something about it. But Emil can walk right by him and no shots are fired, no guns, shots exchanged, or whatever. When was the last time you played this game at this part and had a Banshee bomb come in and nearly destroy a Deathless run? Well, any run. It doesn't. You don't have to be going Deathless, but I mean, I know it didn't hit, and I know it really didn't even get close. I just think that's something to think about.
Get the package out of there. Remember your objective.
I mean, I wouldn't say that any speedrunner is gonna, you know, take a look at this and be happy with it, but I felt like this is a pretty clutch POA, all things considered. With all these aimbot pieces of shit firing at me and Banshee bombs flying out of the air and the concussion rifle nowhere to be found, and I guess me not giving enough of a damn to really care. I'd say it was alright. Because that's the thing about a Deathless run, is you can't revert. I can't, you know, restart. I can't. There's nothing that's going to help me find that concussion rifle other than just standing around looking for it while other shit shoots at me. And the longer I take, the more I clear out to try to prevent them from killing me while I'm looking for that abomination of a weapon, is the more time that it has to despawn, which is probably what it did. Just waiting for that sprint cycle there. And I got the magic mortars coming at me, even though the Wraith doesn't see me at all, but that's fine. That's fine. I looked at it in theater, it didn't see me. It just fired it over here because this game sucks. It would rather cheat you than allow you to flank it. Than allow you any other strategy than standing in that box over there it wants you to stand in and play this game from. But that's neither here nor there. We got through it.
Buggers, go quiet.
The comedy of this part is that, you know, it does imply that at some point the developers intended that this could be a stealthy or stealth-like section. It's such trash. They just come right back to the same spot. They know exactly where I'm at, what I'm doing, what buttons I'm pressing. It doesn't have to be that way. Not every game plays that way. Not every Halo plays that way. Instead of giving you powerful grenades, or the ability to carry more than just 2 of them for the love of God, and this piece of shit can shoot accurately even though it's flying up in the air. I think I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you knew anything about shooting a weapon in real life or on a planet with gravity, You cannot fly upwards and shoot accurately. You can't do it. You can't fly downwards. You can't do anything. You have to be stable. So unless they've got tracking rounds, or they're aimbot garbages, or they're just built not to be fair like every other drone I've ever played against in this stupid series, it's just garbage. They could have easily made it to where it's just a swarm of a spread of weapon fire, but no, they can't tune it special for an enemy that's floating around and not grounded and planted. But anyway, I don't know why I'm even griping about it. It really doesn't matter. It's been like this every single Halo that's included these piles of crap. You hit it in the head. You literally see its head rock back, and it doesn't record a headshot. I mean, did they really think that people would take this game seriously on a competitive level? Since I don't have the concussion rifle, and since I'm not willing to fail at that jump in the, I don't know, the elite room, I'm just going to go ahead and take out the hunters, I guess.
Because my countdown is no abort.
Understood. You gotta get to the dry dock. Priority 1. Enemies.
So if I remember right, these are the only two skips that I do in this entire level. Is the skip you saw running the rooftops, past the Wraith and all that crap, and then this one right here. So even though I've got sprint, I decided to take a safe route here just in case. Plus, I do want to get a couple of shots on some grunts that are over here. They'll show their faces. I think there's one over there that I missed that's on that staircase, just staying there doing nothing, and then this guy materializes out of thin air. But that's fine. Right into the middle of them all. And it only gets one kill. And that's pretty much the story of grenades ever since. That shit's passed through 3 levels of playtesting. 3 different games worth of playtesting. Because that'll happen in Halo 4, it'll happen in Halo 5, and I'm sure it'll happen in Halo Infinite. Just wait. I have zero faith that that game's going to improve in the gameplay at all. All we can hope for is that maybe, just maybe, such a joke. So this is the only concussion rifle jump I'm currently comfortable with, is the one to get up to the top of that scaffolding up there. But like I say, I couldn't find it, and I just gave up on it because figured the game ate it. This part is so weird. Alright, so you show up, they can't see you, you touch them with the Spartan laser, they both start attending to you, they take a shot, you move to the side, you come back, and then they just let you take a shot at them. I really don't understand how the AI is built at all. I mean, I don't understand what that's supposed to, what message that's sending to me. Like, I don't understand, like, what is the message to, I mean, no matter what, don't try to flank our guys, we will turn on the aimbot bullshit robot awareness, but then, you know, if you don't try to flee, if you stand in this box and shoot them at range like we want you to, then, you know, things may go alright. Things may go okay. Just, you know, don't try to sneak up on our AI, don't try to flank them, don't try to do anything other than just stand back and shoot them at range, with them noticing you. It's only fair, right, game? There's 4 guys surrounding him. He just sliced your friend in half, and I've got to get the kill.
That's the last of them.
I thought the game ate the weapon. I mean, obviously now I see it, but at the time, maybe adrenaline was running a little too high, and I just didn't notice it there for a second. I just put a bullet in that dude's neck. It doesn't matter.
He's trying to disengage.
This is such an awesome game with such a beautiful, elegant weapon. That wasn't even a headshot. It wasn't even close to hitting him in the head. I don't know why I didn't pick up the needle rifle and just fire at him a few times, have him skip around, and then, you know, overcharge him. Pile of shit post gets in the way because, you know, it belongs here. I'm sure that they were avoiding people looking at this place and saying, you know, it's not structurally, you know, correct if it doesn't have this post here that's ridiculously useless and, like, you know, an inch thicker on each side than what it looks like.
The keys to Noble Team. We're running out of time here, Spartans.
Nice work. Keep it up.
But now it's time to have some fun. I mean, this weapon may be about as high skill, low reward as a weapon gets in Halo Reach, but I still like to be able to make good use of it. If the game will let me. If they won't armor lock every single time I throw it over there or dive out of the way.
Copy, Noble. My Pelican's ready.
This piece of shit survives a direct grenade blast, but, you know, whatever. This guy can overcharge me from like 3 times further away than I can.
I'll man the big gun. You just get to the platform and deliver that package.
I totally messed this up. Just did not get enough distance on it.
You don't stand a chance. I'm gonna cut you. Gotcha.
I'll kill the last one of them myself.
That pile of crap dives toward the grenade and it won't kill him, so... Dude, I can't win. So I'll just go get the DMR. I'll just go get the DMR. What does it matter?
Think I'm scared of alien pricks?
Man, I honestly don't know what the game wants you to do in this part whenever they all go and hide. I mean, I really don't. They're the invading army. Why are they here? What are you doing on this platform right now? What are you doing?
I'm gonna send you all straight to hell.
Why aren't you attacking us? I honestly don't understand. I've never understood that.
Hold them off until Keys gets here.
So here come the chieftains, and I, in my adrenaline-fueled fervor, run off the side of that incorrectly. And threw that way too far. Not that it's gonna net you any kills. I mean, it's a grenade in Halo Reach. It's not gonna work the way a grenade's supposed to, and clear out groups of enemies that it lands around. But that was a terrible throw.
I've got your number.
This dude's dead now. I remember feeling pretty good after that, man. I mean, it's not over, but that's a pretty big, I mean, it's not so much that I die by him a lot, so much as that he's one of the last things on the freaking map that exist that have a chance to kill me. I mean, we still got more, you know, of those coming, but he's probably the scariest of them all. This pile of trash is hiding to prolong the inevitable. I wasted a grenade there. I threw it right beside him, but it doesn't matter, dude. They don't care. This game does not reward skill at all. At anything other than standing back and shooting crap at... That's, you guessed it, range. I know I've said that like 47 times. It bears repeating over and over again. Not every Halo was built like that. And I really can only think of the first one as being the primary example on all difficulty levels. In fact, I would argue that Halo C is the only game that actually rewards other strategies more than that. It's the only one on any difficulty, especially Legendary, where there are other things you need to be able to do besides just stand back and shoot things at range to kill the enemies. Yeah, there's sections where that works fine, but it is by far you're not. That's not all you. That's not the only skill that'll work. You have to have some other skills. You have to be able to use other weapons that don't involve shooting things in the head from, you know, medium to long range.
You got more on the way. I'll kill every last one of them myself.
Some trash pile shot over there, and I did not know where he was or who did that. And so I was nervous about him the whole time, somehow walking up this ladder and killing me, even though that's... Or that staircase, rather, and killing me, although that's pretty rare. But this guy gets himself in a bad position in just a little bit. And we take out the second biggest threat right there. So all we really need to do now is take out that grunt with the fuel rod and not choke. Everything else should be fine as long as we don't, again, as long as we don't choke or try to rush it. So we just get back here and dare these dudes to come up this walkway, which they will not. Unless they're berserking, and even then it's rare. And then, dude, when that fuel rod grunt goes down, that's when I started to feel it. That's when I started to know that this was going to happen. I mean, it's been a while since I've died to that grunt, but you never feel safe till he's dead. Maybe that's why I haven't died to him in a while. I'm still, there's a part of me that's thinking about that brute, or whatever that was that shot at me a minute ago. Still thinking about that. Still thinking, yeah, maybe he's out there somewhere. Armor lock is the absolute worst thing that ever happened in the armor ability category. I mean, I used to think it was the bubble shield in Halo 3, but Jesus Christ. With my own eyeballs, seeing me shoot them guys multiple times. So here I was really, I really thought that the game might play fair, or I don't know, just be normal. Like a normal Halo game, or a normal game of sorts, and reward me with that plasma launcher. I really like to use it to de-shield the field marshal. But there's spikers laying around. There's all kinds of bullshit that's all over this map. But the last thing that's going to be anywhere is the only plasma launcher in the entire level. It disappears quick. It's garbage collected fast. For God knows what reason. So I'm pretty much holding the fuel rod just for nothing. It's not going to be of import at all. That all being said, all those gripes and complaints being said, seriously and truly at this juncture, you know, all I've got to do is not choke, really. All I had to do was not choke. I mean, even the way I kill these guys is... It's cautious, but it's unnecessarily so. You don't need to do this. You don't need to take the sniper rifle and try to shoot these ice skaters. So they just love going back and forth. Huh. And I fall off here like an idiot. I put rails everywhere but where they would need them in this stage, in this part. Take some impulsive shots. I mean, again, totally unnecessary. High skill, low reward weapon, this sniper rifle in Halo Reach. It just simply doesn't have the stopping power it's had prior to now. Why they chose to nerf it and make them skate around like freaking idiots and run from the reticle, you know, I don't know. They just, again, I mean, seriously, man, they went all out with the stand back and shoot him at range, noob combo, BS. I don't know why. I don't know why this was more valuable. He produces a grenade right out of his character model instead of, you know, with a grenade throwing motion. Notice how I stumbled there because I de-shielded him, but that extra layer was there, so anyway. I just always think it's kind of funny. Alright, so we've got the idiot engineer running off. So, you know, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and risk anything. I'm going to just take my time here. And you know what? If they ain't gonna give me the plasma launcher, then hell, I'll use this thing and see what happens before I go back to the tried and true plasma pistol method. So I need to locate the field marshal. Am I feeling confident here? Yes, but at the same time, of course, this guy's one shot away from ending a flawless run. One shot away. Hate to choke it here. Look to see if the engineer returned, which it never does. I don't see him in the corner of my eye right now. He's right over there. I believe it is. But I'm just trying to goose him out. I'm trying to make sure I know where he's at. And then I see the glow. And then I decide I'm going to take out the engineer because I can see the glow. I remember being able to see the glow out of the corner of my eye. It stays in the same spot, doesn't move. So now I'm going to see if I can at least work this shield down and then maybe DMR him with the hit scan weapon to finish off his reign of terror here. Because as soon as I strip that shield, he's going to go for the sword and he becomes much more easy to deal with in that situation. So I've been able to nail 3 overcharges with the grenade launcher's EMP function. He doesn't shoot at me there, which I was surprised about. But we're just about one shot away. If I can just keep him from recharging, and there it is, and he is down. And it's all but lost here for the game. All but one for me. But still, there is a small matter of choking that needs to be avoided, just in case. So I come over here, and I think I make a mistake here to prolong this. I don't know why it is, but that objective thing, if you saw it right then, it kind of flashed. He says that, and I think we're all good here. So I really, to this moment, don't know what happened. But I don't see anything happening. I don't see any of the phantoms. But if you'll notice, when I walked up there, it kind of flashed. Then he said his line, and nothing's happening. Then finally I hear the phantoms. It makes me wonder if there's some sort of glitch there. Maybe I should have, but at the time I didn't care, but maybe you should have looked to see if like somehow, some way you could, I don't know, stop them phantoms from coming in. It really doesn't matter. I guess it would matter on like a laser run, but where you have to hit it twice, but like if there was some way somehow to do that, to like get the cruiser would keep moving, but the phantoms for some reason wouldn't start showing up. But anyway, these are the last couple of minutes of this POA, and I was very, very happy, obviously, to have finished this challenge. To this day, I sporadically continue to try to best this time. There were a lot of things that went wrong in this run, a lot of times where, especially early on, where I made mistakes, played casually. The game gave me such terrible RNG, or I chickened out in certain ways that I just wish I could make it better. I don't know if I'll ever really give this a serious shot ever again. So this may be the only record of me ever doing this. Release the hologram, hop up in the Mac cannon, the mass driver, whatever you want to call it, and before they can even strip my shields, victory, sweet victory.
Good guns, Spartan.
And I just go ahead and end the film because, there's no reason to keep here any longer. So yeah, I would strongly suggest that anybody who tries to do this challenge, just, remember what you're getting yourself into. Truly, this is not the way these games were meant to be played. But yeah, I can't help but be proud of this, but at the same time wonder what could have been if I would have played it more before getting it. Because I've lost my motivation to really do it now and to go through the kind of pain and suffering that's required. And so, yeah, I wish I'd have gave it more of a chance. I wish my furthest point reached would have been something besides Exodus before I nailed this run. But anyway, this is, if you sat through all this, I apologize for all the salt and all the vitriol. Hit that thumbs up if you liked any of this at all. Thumbs down if you didn't. Any comments are fine. I'll read them all, I'm pretty sure. But as for now, this is JP3 signing out. Have a wonderful day, and thank you very, 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 very much for watching. Goodbye. It's over. It's fucking over. It's nothing! It's fucking nothing! Nothing!